And there we go. We are right at now 6 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. It's November 25th. And yeah, that's snow there. Well, that was from that little burst of snow, about a week ago or so? But it is definitely a preview of coming attractions. So coming up, we'll talk a bit about this winter storm that's about to sock northwest Wisconsin and maybe bring an inch or three to a large swath of the northern half of the state. We'll see how that thing tracks along. So we will be talking about that for sure as we head into the biggest travel day of the year tomorrow. Also, let's see, we'll talk about Donald Trump saying, "Here comes my health care plan," and then followed up almost immediately by "Psych." So nothing new there. And then we'll have that Northwest Wisconsin theme in our 7 o'clock hour, talking to State Representative Stroud of Ashland and new state Senate candidate in the 25th District, Charly Ray, plus Courier Newsroom's Cam Stevenson from Washington, D.C., and Eric Gunn of the Wisconsin Examiner. All that and more starting at 6:06 across the Civic Media Radio Network and right here. We will see you right after the news.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. It's the busiest travel week of the year. More people hit the road for Thanksgiving than any other holiday. AAA estimates 1.65 million people in Wisconsin will be traveling more than 50 miles away. That's about 28% of our whole population. And with a 2% rise in travelers this year, that would set a new record. A vast majority of people going on a trip for Thanksgiving will be driving. So as usual for the holiday, be ready for a lot of traffic. There are some time frames that will be particularly busy. If you're hitting the road, listen up. Roads will be busiest today from noon to 9, tomorrow from 11 to 8, and all day long on Sunday. There are a few highway construction projects, including I-3990 from the Beltline to Sun Prairie, I-94 from Dane to Jefferson counties, Highway 51 in McFarland and in Stoughton, and 18151 in Verona. Advocates and law enforcement are urging you to have a designated driver if you'll be drinking. Holidays can turn tragic when people drive impaired. Data shows on average 173 people die each year over the Thanksgiving holiday in drunk driving crashes. That's 35% of all traffic deaths during that time period. To keep the roads safer, AAA has activated its Tow-to-Go program. Someone who has their car with them and maybe imbibed more than they planned can call, and a tow truck will take the person and their car to their destination, only within a 10-mile radius. But the program is free, and you do not have to be a AAA member. Meanwhile, some Wisconsinites are taking to the skies, about 8% of people traveling. On average, round-trip flights for Thanksgiving cost about $700, which is similar to what they cost last year. According to AAA's report, the top destinations for Wisconsinites are mostly in Florida. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
The Packers prepare for the Lions. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports. NFL, the Packers head to Detroit to face the Lions on Thanksgiving. Kickoff at Ford Field at noon Thursday. We learned that quarterback Jordan Love is dealing with a separated left shoulder, an AC joint sprain he suffered last week against the Giants. Is that why he was only handing off the ball with his right hand against the Vikings?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't affect me too much. Took a couple hits on it, but was fine for the most part. And, yeah.
NBA, the Bucks losing at home last night to Portland, 115-103. It's their fifth loss in a row. They play the Heat in Miami tomorrow night. And the Wisconsin Badgers, Mimi Collier, on being the number one pick overall in the Major League Professional Volleyball Draft.
It was so much fun. We're having a little watch party in the locker room right now. The whole staff is there. Some of the girls are there. And it's so nice just being surrounded by people that I love and experiencing a moment like this. And it's something I'll never forget.
That's Wisconsin's Mimi Collier with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Construction barrels bloom every spring. So do opinions. WMDX, guiding Madison through life's most predictable surprises.
A little drizzle this morning, mostly cloudy all day with a few more scattered rain showers later this afternoon. Our high today, upper 40s to low 50s. Tonight, rain off and on through the night. Our low dropping into the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, cloudy with some rain likely at a high in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature 44.
Hey, Gordy, I gotta admit, these hearing aids from Madison Hearing Aid Center changed my life.
Mine too, John. I thought I needed subtitles to talk to my grandkids.
And these aren't those old giant clunkers we saw in the old days. It's got Bluetooth, it's rechargeable, the works.
Yeah, my phone connects straight to my ears. I'm basically a cyborg now.
Well, you just figured out texting last year, too.
Yeah, baby steps. But I did call Madison Hearing Aid Center, and you should too. 608-249-4077.
608-249-4077. Tell them John and Gordy sent you.
Hello, this is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we share stories from Turtle Island highlighting the people and issues shaping our communities. From protecting water to treaty rights and preserving languages and traditions, we cover it all. Hear voices like Arvina Martin of Emerge, Wisconsin, Dr. Stately, Robert Lilligren, and more. Because Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Native Roots Radio, weeknights at 8 on your local civic media radio station. Peach Waba.
On the next Nightlight, I welcome
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Well, hey there, Wisconsin. Good morning. It is 6:06 on a Tuesday morning, November 25th, 2025. It's another beautiful morning to have you here up north. Live from Lake Wissota, from wherever you're spending your mornings listening across the Civic Media Radio Network or one of the many other paths to get here to the lake. We appreciate you starting the day right here. I got a question for you. What's the worst pop song of all time? We have one nominee coming up as part of today's history lesson a half hour from now. But maybe, maybe that's not something at the top of your mind, the worst pop song, though I definitely have a nominee as well. Maybe another way to put it is, what's your guilty pleasure? What's a song that a lot of people don't like, but you do? Maybe, what did we play last week? Charly Ray Jepsen's Call Me Maybe, or something like that. So we're talking a bit about music that either is judged as bad, you think it's bad, or there's actually a bad one that you kind of like. You'll find out what we're talking about when we get to today's history lesson in just a little bit. Of course, on that and a host of other matters, we invite you to be part of the show at 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. You can use the Civic Media app to call us or text us or to record a voice note, and we would love to hear from you that way about any of the things we talk about. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we've got a new candidate for state senate in Northwest Wisconsin's 25th state senate district. Charly Ray will be joining us from Washburn 1 hour from now. And then keeping with an up north theme today, he will be followed by Ashland area state representative Angela Stroud. Things that got done in the fall legislative session, things that didn't get done. There were a lot of those. And that might explain why people like Charly Ray are running, saying maybe we need to change who's collecting a paycheck down in Madison and not doing much more than playing politics on our dime. So we'll have that to talk about. But we also have a really good question of the week from our Sunday morning newsletter that we're going to spend some time on. But first, speaking of up north, we've got to talk about what's first going to hit Northwest Wisconsin, then a lot of the rest of us. It's winter. Are you ready for some winter? It may not reach as far south of Madison, where we find Parker Olson in Madison Studio A2 at Civic Media headquarters, but I'm sure he's going to tell me that he's already got the scraper, the snow brush in the car, the boots are ready to go. He knows where the shovel is. Yes? No?
Good morning, Pat. Yes. I would like to point out, actually, because I think I said this a little while ago, I didn't have an ice scraper in my car, actually.
Right.
So I had to borrow my mom's because she gets to park in the garage.
She gets to park in the garage.
Oh yeah, she does. I don't.
Yeah.
And while I was gone on Saturday this weekend, I get home and there's an ice scraper for me that she bought me.
Aw. Thanks, Mom.
Yes. Thank you, Mom. Pat, this ice scraper feels incredibly flimsy. Like it's gonna snap as soon as I need
Wow,
to scrape
throwing
any
mom
ice.
under the bus at 6:10 in the morning.
But wait.
Okay.
There is an upside to this thing.
Oh, okay. Hope so.
I thought it was an oven mitt at first. It's got like a big mitten so your
Right.
hand doesn't get wet while you're
Right.
like wiping off the snow.
Yeah.
That's kind of clever.
So you like the mitten feature, but the scraper's a little flimsy.
I'm a little worried that the scraper might give out on me. Yeah.
Okay. So let's not go all Hulk on the windshield then. Let's just
Sometimes that ice, man, you got to get in there.
make the defroster your friend, and make sure that the stuff is in there because, folks, this is going to get nasty in parts of the state. A winter storm warning starts as early as 6 o'clock this evening in northwest Wisconsin. Basically everything north of Highway 8, along with St. Croix County, plus a large swath of eastern and central Minnesota are going to be under a winter storm warning. Then a winter storm advisory starts tonight at midnight in Chippewa, Eau Claire, Dunn, Pepin, and Pierce counties. Right now, there's a large area of rain stretching across much of northwest Wisconsin from the Twin Cities to Ironwood, Michigan. And there's a lot of light snow right now in Minnesota and North Dakota. And that's all going to change this evening in all of the counties and areas that I mentioned, changing over to all snow. Especially in the Lake Superior snow belt. They are going to get socked since the water temperature hasn't gone down to winter levels yet on Lake Superior. So some spots could see 1 to 3 inches of snow per hour, especially in Iron County and some western parts of the UP. Now, even south of the main storm, say south of I-94, there are parts of the state that are going to see an inch or more of snow as the storm passes by. Oh, did I mention the wind? That's going to pick up. That's going to make travel even more of a character builder starting later tonight. The snow will taper off from west to east throughout Wednesday, but that's the biggest travel day of the year, and your travel plans are very much in play. So make adjustments accordingly. Pack the patience, as they say, and then all of the supplies, whether you're grateful for what your mom gave you or not. And the low to mid 40s that we're feeling right now all across Wisconsin, well, you can kiss them goodbye because temperatures are going to start dropping like a rock. There goes the mercury now. And temps throughout Thanksgiving weekend, throughout the weekend, will be in the teens and 20s. Yay.
I mean,
It's a good thing you have a glove on your scraper. Your mom is a saint. You know that? You should call her more often. Just
I
say
live
thank
with
you.
her.
Oh, okay. I was not aware that was the circumstance, and that just opens up a whole new line of dialogue on this show. So, all right, please tell me you're in the basement. Tell me you're in the basement.
I'm in my no. The basement would be too good for me, Pat. Actually.
Okay.
Because my dad has sportified it.
Sportified. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We have a bunch of his from when he was in like high school and college and he was a kid. We have the covers of old Sports Illustrateds.
Now that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool down there.
Okay.
So no, the
that's-
basement's far too good for me.
Okay, so all right, we can't make the mother's basement jokes, but still, I do like the sports theme down there. That's good. That's good
Yeah, I should show you
entertainment.
some pictures sometime. I think I've got some. I think you would be a big fan.
Yep. Alicia says that she hopes everyone stays safe. Let's see. Tony says maybe it's just got some flexibility, the scraper, so that it doesn't break. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just got a little bit more play in there.
Maybe.
Alicia also adds on YouTube, we do very much need to change who is getting a paycheck. Agreed. Yep. And Roger and Stevens Point up on Facebook already with our question of the day, bad music. What are some of the worst popular tunes? And Roger says, I can give you a list. There's Pop Music by M, Mickey by Tony Basil, and Rapture by Blondie for a start. I was not expecting that. So let's see. We've got, of course, 855-75-CIVIC is the phone number, 855-752-4842 if you'd like to be part of our question of the day. And again, you might want to wait till the history lesson, but I want to know right now if you have some guilty pleasures out there for music or stuff that you would be very happy never to ever hear again. But now let me turn to our question of the week, and that's something that we have in our Sunday morning newsletter. You can sign up for it over at upnorthnewswi.com. And the question is about AI and the AI boom that's out there. And I mean, there's no holding it back. It almost seems to have come out of nowhere, but suddenly, I mean, every Google search can result in AI spitting out some results. And in some ways, that's kind of handy. The answers are more in plain English than ever before, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're 100% accurate. And then there's AI's impact on jobs and things like that, certainly on our communications. So what do you think? Now, I'm going to give you what our newsletter readers get, and you don't have to be this specific if you don't want to, but I figure in a newsletter, you've got it right in front of you, so we've got all the shades of gray. So here are the 4 options we asked our Sunday morning readers. What do you think about AI's growth? A is mostly optimistic. While AI will lead to some job loss, it also has great potential to improve our lives. There will be adequate safeguards. My job will probably be safe. My job might even be made easier. That's option A. Option B is still glass half full. I'll be okay with it, but I think that there will be some bumps in the road, some job losses, deep fakes, false information, etc. Option C is glass half empty. AI will be seen to cause more harm than good, maybe not catastrophic, but some work is going to be needed later to address problems that we weren't prepared for. And then option D, pessimistic, the bad luck schleprock, wowsy woo-woo answer. I foresee major harms, job losses, hacking, misinformation with dangerous consequences, and future generations will wonder why we didn't put more safeguards in place. And by the way, it's too soon to tell. We don't know. So there's no wrong answer at this point. But if you feel strongly in that range somewhere, A, B, C, or D, you can get in the comment sections of Facebook or YouTube. That's the Up North News Facebook and YouTube pages and the Civic Media Facebook and YouTube pages. And you can leave us a comment, or better yet, use that Civic Media app and either call us, text us, or leave us a voice note. You can text us at 855-75-CIVIC and let us know what are your thoughts on the growth of AI. Related to it, of course, is the growth of data centers. And the whole notion that, I mean, data centers come with issues. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But we're also not going to do any less computing. So we're going to have to figure this one out. It's not just wishing all the data centers away. It's going to have to be more toward safeguards. And if it's not in your backyard, and that's fine, it's absolutely fine to feel that way. But what do you want to see in the law so that if it goes in somebody else's backyard, it doesn't cause long-term harm? All right. Also coming up on the program today, along with your responses about AI and about music, we're going to be talking to Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner. He'll be pinch hitting for Ruth Conniff today. Eric is going to review some of the stories that they've been covering over at wisconsinexaminer.com with the end of the fall session of the legislature and some of the stories that he has been working on specifically. And Courier Newsroom's Cam Stevenson will join us live from Washington, D.C. There's some good news to report out of there. The pushback to the illegal arrests being made by ICE in the Charlotte area, for example, we've got that going for us. There's also the death of Doge, as we talked about. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be against wasteful spending. That's never what Doge was about. And then you've got like Home Depot, where again, they were allowing, arrests in the stores, again, without cause. A lot of times American citizens being caught up and illegally detained, and Home Depot customers found a way to push back that's been very effective. And I know there are people already saying, well, wait, does that make you anti-law enforcement? No. It's no different than what those members of Congress said last week about our troops in the military, about illegal orders. Donald Trump wants you to believe that if he makes an order, it's therefore legal. It doesn't work that way. Just ask soldiers and law enforcement who actually have been charged with everything from abuse to war crimes. There are things that are beyond the pale, and we are in one of those eras right now, like it or not. And so the best thing for law enforcement and the military to do is adhere to ethics and standards that live up to what we want in America. We want law enforcement. We want freedom too. And they can go hand in hand, just not when a dictator says anything goes. We'll have more about today's headlines coming up. First, from the heart of America's up north, live from Lake Wissota. Thanks for making this the place to spend part of your mornings. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Curds before carbs.
This portion of the John and Gordy Show is brought to you by Verlo Mattress. Each mattress is made to order right here in Madison. Your comfort changes, so your foundation should be adjustable. Prepare for the best sleep you've ever had. For the biggest dreams, it's got to be Verlo.
Hello, this is Dr. Chris Kammer, the no-drill, no-shot dentist from Victorious Dental in Madison. I heal teeth with medicine, recommended and prioritized by the American Dental Association. I stop cavities by simply brushing antibiotic on your teeth. So no shots, no drills. For a kinder, more humane healing experience at the dentist, reach out to Victorious Dental. We'll help you win the battle for your health, peacefully and comfortably, only at Victorious Dental. Find us at thedrillisgone.com.
Hey, honey, how was your day?
Yours?
Pretty good. Guess what? The boss asked me to find a place for the holiday party this year.
Oh, I know a place that'd be just...
Yes, right here. We think so alike.
No,
we can
wait,
put some
wait.
text.
No, not
what?
our house. Sugar River Pizza.
You
you already told them they could be here, didn't you?
Yeah, well...
I'm sure you thought catering from Sugar River would be just fine.
Sure.
Yeah, but you've seen that huge room in the back of the Sugar River Pizza at their Sun Prairie location.
Yes.
It's ideal for a holiday party.
Well, yes.
Fabulous pizza, that pulled pork you love, pasta, soup, sandwiches.
Yeah.
Anyone can get exactly what they want.
And it's better than your meatloaf. Well,
Wait,
let me
wait,
call
what?
them.
What'd you just say? You said you like my meatloaf.
I did. No, Sugar River Pizza in Sun Prairie. That is a great idea. You're brilliant. Thanks, hon.
Plan your next office or holiday party with Sugar River Pizza in Sun Prairie. Get to sugarriverpizza.com/catering to book today.
What exactly is wrong with my meatloaf?
I like it. Most of the time,
Wait,
it's pretty
most
good.
of the time?
Well, most
Pretty
yeah,
good?
Kind of, yeah.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to
I have a feeling that starting tomorrow, Parker Olson, our producer in Madison, is going to have to start incorporating some holiday-themed music into some of these bumpers because it's going to begin to look a lot like Christmas starting tomorrow.
This is true.
Yeah.
The season is here.
It is, and yeah, I've got some seasonal holiday stuff on my to-do list for today because we are getting to that time. By the way, just a quick public service announcement. If you haven't taken your turkey out of the freezer yet, it's too late. Stop. I've never understood that. And look, I don't cook turkey. I get it. But you've heard this enough over the years to know a big old 10, 12-pound bird is a solid block of ice isn't going to thaw in 24 hours or 48 for that matter. You got to give it some time.
That bird has been taking up half of our fridge for the whole week.
Yeah, and that's fine. The fridge is perfectly fine. You know, you're going to be okay. You'd have to leave it in the fridge for a long time, a week plus before you even start to worry about any issues. So let's do anyway. Look at us being the butterball turkey line over here. That's not what we do. I'm just saying. You might have to go to the grocery store and get a fresh one if you haven't by now. So keep that in mind. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Asking what you think of the growth of AI. Are you okay with it? Do you want to see some particular safeguards in place as a result? We'd love to learn more about that. Let's see. From Michael in Pleasant Prairie, there was a news story this morning reporting that the Trump administration is planning to change the practice of starting Eagle Scouts to enlist in the military with an immediate rank advancement. Mike, that's the first time I've heard about that. So I can only tell you that I will look into it and see what I can report back. Sometimes it takes me a few days sometimes to get up to speed on something. Let me give you an example, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but a good example would be all these commercials that are running on some TV stations from the National Association of Broadcasters. And it's all about, we need the regulations to keep up, or big tech is going to shut down local TV, which again, it sounds like all political ads, sounds fine at first. But then you dig into it a bit more and you realize what it is. It's some very big TV chains want to get bigger. Think Sinclair, for example. They just want to get to be as big as big tech, when the answer is we got to get smaller. You heard me the other day in the history lesson yesterday talking about the breakup of AT&T, and we can do this. We need to be doing this. We can do it. We need to do it with Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Facebook. And the answer is not to get bigger. We've tried that in so many other ways, and I feel like we just have to keep learning the same lesson over and over again. Here's another lesson we keep having to learn over and over again. Donald Trump has no plan for your health care. Donald Trump has no plan to make health care more affordable. That has never interested him. It's not on his radar at all. He knows it's the thing to say. He's known that all this time. He knows just enough people are going to believe him. But from the wires yesterday, Republicans in Congress balk at Trump's health care proposal before it's even released. There were rumors out there that Trump was about to unveil a new health care plan, that he understood that 22 million Americans who have benefited from Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits are about to see huge price hikes because Republicans in Congress, who have been throwing a temper tantrum about the Affordable Care Act for more than a decade now, are allowing enhanced subsidies to expire. And again, yes, they're expiring. They were voted in place and now they're expiring. They could have extended them in much the same way that they didn't mind extending the 2017 Trump tax favors to big business that were expiring. It's a matter of priorities, and your affordable health care is not a priority. So there were rumors that Trump was about to propose some kind of extension or renewal of those Affordable Care Act enhanced tax credits, but that enough Republicans in Congress, because remember, the Republican caucus in Congress has shifted far to the right compared to where it used to be. And they don't care about whether government is affordable, whether health care is affordable or not. The big plan that Trump was talking about before was returning the money to the American taxpayer and letting them decide. That just means going back to what we had. So the big insurance companies say, oh, well, I see you got all that cash, and by the way, we're jacking up our prices even higher, and you don't have any alternative. There would have been an alternative called the public option under the Affordable Care Act, which actually would have brought competition to the for-profit health insurance corporate market. But Joe Lieberman and some other squishy Democrats just couldn't go through with that. So the bottom line is, when we talk about concepts of a plan, like Trump said last year, he doesn't even have the concepts. He just has the talking points. He puts them out for a little bit. He gets some Republican pushback, and he pulls it right back. And as a result, between this and other things that have been happening with the White House, there were reports yesterday that Republicans in Congress are racing for the exits, that Marjorie Taylor Greene was just one of several dominoes about to fall. So here's a reminder. Any 4 Republicans in the House could arrange some kind of a deal with Democrats and return to sanity and get some good ideas passed and cooperate and compromise and find a way to do things that neither party gets everything they want. And they would still have time to hold on to their seats once the voters see some common sense productivity returning to Washington. There is a path out. But right now, rather than the path of smart policy that benefits Americans, the path they're beating is to the exits, especially when they see things like yesterday, the charges against Letitia James and James Comey thrown out because, again, of the ham-handedness where Trump is treating the Department of Justice like some kind of, tool of vengeance. It ain't supposed to work that way, folks. Today's history lesson is coming up. What is the worst song that ever became a big hit? And Garth Brooks with a little drinking song to kick things off as well. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
From the Capitol to your kitchen table, Madison's biggest stories live right here on 92.7 WMDX.
Well, the market may be getting trade data now from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, but it's dated. I'm Pam Yankee, starting you off before the opening bell on a Tuesday morning. Quick look at what's happening in agribusiness news. In fact, the latest Wisconsin Crop Progress Report was released yesterday. I'll have those details next.
We want milk fed! We want milk fed! There's a full house in the stands tonight, and it sounds like they're demanding higher milk fat and lower feed costs.
These fans know that growing Pioneer brand Plenish high oleic soybeans for dairy rations can help producers increase milk fat production without increasing feed costs.
For dairy farmers, it's Plenish soybeans for the winning return on investment.
Plant the 100th season of Pioneer. Visit pioneer.com/feedplenish.
So the latest Crop Progress Report was released yesterday by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's also the final Crop Progress Report for calendar year 2025. And it basically told us what we already knew. 90% of the corn in Wisconsin's been harvested. Corn moisture averaged 18%. Winter wheat, 92% has emerged. It also is rated 70% good to excellent as far as quality. Matt Treadle, dairy analyst with Everag in Platteville, says that lag in USDA reporting is the same situation that dairy will deal with.
Yeah, they looked pretty good, and I guess when we do look at, those numbers, we do still need to kind of keep in mind that that was based upon August, when we were significantly discount to the world market. We were essentially anywhere from 20 to 60 cents discount.
Matt Treadle, dairy analyst with Everag. All right, we have market updates coming your way next. Stand by.
Veltima fungicide outyields the competition by an average of 7 bushels per acre. But you've never been average. The only competition that really matters is you versus you. And with the performance of Veltima fungicide from BASF, you can take your best results even further. Beat your own record. Get every bushel you deserve. And make this your best season yet with Veltima fungicide from BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
On Monday in Chicago, the barrel cheese was unchanged. 40-pound block cheese dropped 2.5 to $1.52.5. Double A butter down $1.75, $1.46 a pound. This morning, the December Class 3 milk that goes into cheese is up 3 at $16.22. Currently, December corn's up a penny at $4.25. January soybeans are up a half at $11.24. The wheat for July currently unchanged at $5.52 a bushel. There's your market snapshot. I'm Pam Yankee.
Local news, real voices, and conversations that count. That's Madison. And that's 92.7 WMDX.
A little drizzle this morning, mostly cloudy all day with a few more scattered rain showers later this afternoon. Our high today, upper 40s to low 50s. Tonight, rain off and on through the night. Our low dropping into the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, cloudy with some rain likely at a high in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature 44.
Hey, Gordy, I gotta admit, these hearing aids from Madison Hearing Aid Center changed my life.
Mine too, John. I thought I needed subtitles to talk to my grandkids.
And these aren't those old giant clunkers we saw in the old days. It's got Bluetooth, it's rechargeable, the works.
Yeah, my phone connects straight to my ears. I'm basically a cyborg now.
Hey, you just figured out texting last year, too.
Yeah, baby steps. But I did call Madison Hearing Aid Center, and you should too. 608-249-4077.
608-249-4077. Tell them John and Gordy sent you.
Join me, Tom Hartman, each and every weekday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the Tom Hartman program right here on Civic Media. I talk about the issues that all Wisconsinites can get behind, from unrigging our economy so it works for all of us, not just the billionaire class, to improving our representative government, to delivering on the promise of we the people.
It's time once again for today's history lesson on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
It's one small step for man.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
You know, this depression is going to be so great. We'll be the ones eating the cats and the dogs. That's going to be fun.
Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
We are starting things slow and easy with today's history lesson, the anniversary of the birth of the late, great Percy Sledge. I don't know. Parker, you're my connection to what the kids are playing these days, you know, on the radio.
That's a bad connection.
I mean, are there songs now where a guy is like really pouring his heart out? Like, I love you so much, and I want the whole world to know this. Is that out there?
Yeah, it just sounds different.
Okay.
Very different. Sounds very different, Pat.
Okay, all right. It's a little early for this, for this next phrase.
Oh, boy.
Again, I want the love songs. I don't want back that thing up, okay? I want, you're an awesome person and I want to be near you. Is that out there? And please tell me it's not just, you know, Michael Bublé. Just tell me there's something more in the pop area that does that. Feel free to tell me. I'm no expert on the kids and their rock and roll music, but give me this anytime. A woman hears this, she knows he is serious. Percy Sledge, born this day in 1940, 85 years ago, passed away in 2015 from Layton, Alabama. Some other birthdays today. Actor John Larroquette from Night Court is 78 years old today. Actress Christina Applegate, 54 today. The Bush twins are 44 years old today. Jenna Bush Hager and Barbara Pierce Bush, daughters of President George W. Bush, 44 years old today. Amy Grant, the teenage Christian music sensation, is a senior citizen as of today. Amy Grant is 65. Amy Grant is a native of Augusta, Georgia. This is one of her many crossover pop hits after an early career in Christian music. Amy Grant has sold more than 30 million albums worldwide. She's won 6 Grammy Awards. She had the first Christian music album to go platinum. She and singer Vince Gill have now been married for 25 years. Amy Grant, 65 years old today. The number one hit this day in 1967. This is the most 60s thing I can give you today. 1967, the number one song was from a group called Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Occasion spots, wagons clutter your mind. In the sense of peppermints, the color of time. Who cares what games we choose? Little to win, but nothing to lose.
Incense and Peppermints was co-written by the guitarist for Strawberry Alarm Clock, Ed King, who would later join a band called Leonard Skinner and go on to other things, but started with Strawberry Alarm Clock, number one song, 58 years ago today. Let's go way up to 1984 as 36 top musicians gathered in a studio in Notting Hill and recorded this song for Band Aid. This was the first of several mega efforts, followed later on by USA for Africa, to raise money for famine relief in Ethiopia. Well, 1 year later, here's where we're getting into today's big question. The number one song 40 years ago this week was in its second of 2 weeks at the top of the singles chart.
You want me to turn it off yet?
Is it? I've never understood why Blender Magazine once named this the worst song of all time. I think Blender Magazine is the song or the magazine I've least heard of. But they got a lot of traction out of saying that Starships We Built This City, the number one song this week in 1985, was the worst song of all time, which cannot be true as long as anyone remembers Night Ranger's Sister Christian. You heard me. Sister Christian is the worst song that ever charted of all time. Everybody else has their own, their own pluses and minuses. I think I've got a couple here that came in on are they in the comment section or the text line? Let's see. This one is about When a Man Loves a Woman. They really like it. Roger, of course, mentioned earlier, pop music. Mickey, Rapture by Blondie. There are a few others that are coming in as well. So we'd love to know, is Starships We Built This City really the worst song that ever charted?
It's not good.
It's a perfectly fine pop song.
Yeah, I don't know, Pat. There's this commercial. I can't think of what it's for, to be perfectly honest with you. But it parodies this song.
Well, that's an easy song to parody. Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yes. Yeah. But they sing, "We built this toilet."
Yeah.
And that's all I can hear when I hear this song.
Totally get it. On the text line from Jim in Brookfield, good morning, Pat. As far as a song that's a guilty pleasure, the previously mentioned Call Me Maybe is a great song to hear over the PA system at the outdoor swimming pool while doing laps in the summertime. And as for a song I wouldn't mind never hearing again, Beyonce's All the Single Ladies is just too repetitive and too whiny. I'm sorry, Jim in Brookfield, he says. It is repetitive. I totally grant you that.
I get his point.
Many people will say repetitive in a catchy way. Others, not so much. Tony noting that when you build a city on rock and roll, he says on YouTube, I'm not sure that city will pass inspection. It seems structurally shoddy.
It seems a little wobbly.
Could totally see that. Roger reminds us, by the way, that Percy Sledge's When a Man Loves a Woman, that was the song that was played when Kevin and Winnie had their first kiss on the Wonder Years. I believe it was also highlighted in Moonlighting when David and Maddie finally got together. It's just a very powerful song. So we've got the most powerful, and we've got the lamest of the lame, and we've got guilty pleasures. We're doing it all in today's history lesson. Let's see. That was 1985, I said. Let's get a couple notes on our way to the next one. 1986. The Iran-Contra affair. The U.S. Attorney General Ed Meese announced that profits from covert weapon sales to Iran by the Reagan administration were illegally diverted to anti-communist Contra rebels in Nicaragua. 1992. In her first movie role, Whitney Houston played a pop diva under the protection of Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard. Of course, we've all heard I Will Always Love You, but the movie itself debuted this day in 1992. Our next item is from 1995 and also features Whitney Houston on a soundtrack.
Everyone falls in love sometimes. Sometimes it's wrong.
This song, Exhale, the Shoop Shoop song by Whitney Houston, went to number 1 30 years ago today. The song appeared on the soundtrack to the film Waiting to Exhale, starring Whitney Houston and Angela Bassett. And one more song to share. 1997 on this day, Garth Brooks released his 8th album titled Sevens. It had 2 hits. There was Long Neck Bottle, and then there was this anthem of every one of my beach vacations.
Now I'm on a roll and I swear to my soul, tonight I'm gonna paint this town. So bring me 2 pina coladas. I want one for each
The magic of this song is that my wife has not yet divorced me after hearing me sing this on my way to the poolside bar. Every
And
beach
he always
vacation
comes
I'm on.
back- He always comes back to the table with 2 pina coladas.
It's amazing, and she
And he
thinks I'm
always-
sharing one of them with her. I mean, she's so selfish.
So
but
naive.
Yeah, I know. And on this day in 1964, Willie Nelson made his debut at the Grand Ole Opry. So, Tony on YouTube says, I miss peak Garth Brooks. Well, Tony, I miss peak Pat Kreitlow. We all reach a pinnacle at some point, and time is undefeated. So it happens to all of us, Tony. And you young punk, it's going to happen to you. Trust me. But yeah, at least Garth put all of his best stuff on magnetic tape, so we could play it back someday.
That's true.
So that's a good thing. What do we got on the National Day calendar today?
We have got, it is Shopping Reminder Day.
Shopping Reminder Day?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
because-
Like you need a reminder. Do you know how many ad inserts I got in my mailbox for all the Black Friday specials? I got 5 pounds of reminders coming at me right now. So there you go, kids. What
Fair
else?
enough. I'll give you that.
Yep.
It is also National Play with Dad Day.
National Play with Dad Day.
Yeah.
Seems like it should be the other way around. Like, Dad, play with your kids day,
Well, yeah.
I mean, look, most dads are great about that. Not all of them. There are still some dads, I can't believe in this day and age we have to say this, but dads, if it's your own kids, it's not babysitting. Like, I got to babysit the kids. No, they're your kids. Go be a dad. All right. What else we got?
It is National Parfait Day.
Parfait Day.
Parfait Day.
Okay. Is there a what is the definition of parfait?
I'm glad you asked, because I wasn't 100% sure either, to be honest with you. And I'm still...
Says here, and this is where AI comes into play,
Yes.
from Google's AI, a parfait is a layered dessert that can either be a frozen French-style custard or, more commonly in the U.S., a layered dish of yogurt, fruit, and granola. The French version is a frozen puree made from boiled cream, egg, sugar, and syrup. While the American style, in so many words, is we just throw a bunch of junk in a glass and call it good. Whereas the French are like, no, you must boil your cream and have the egg. No, just throw some ice cream in, some chocolate chips,
It must
call
be
it
good. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Parfait Day. All right. So if you're going to get a parfait today, get it made from scratch, the fancy way. What else we got today?
It is also National Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Again, nice to call attention to it. That really should be every day. We shouldn't have to tell you that. Let's see. What do we got in entertainment news?
Entertainment news, Pat. Bill Belichick. He was spotted the other day at an adult cheerleading competition. No, not participating. He was there because his 24-year-old girlfriend is on one of the teams. The 73-year-old man was photographed looking like any other old man at an adult cheerleading competition. That's out of place, and I believe with a frown on his face.
Well, that would be peak Belichick. Although I feel like peak Belichick has already happened. Alicia says, "I'm on my way to peak Alicia." Good for you. Yes.
Hey,
Tony saying this is peak Kreitlow. I don't know about that. Tony also saying, "Don't tell me what to do. I'll play with my kids if I want to." All right, Dad. Dad's a grump. One more note. Anything new from the box office?
Yes, Wicked for Good, the new Wicked movie. It is doing better than the first one. It is has $226 million globally in the opening weekend. It's the highest ever for a Broadway adaptation.
All right. Coming up after the 7 o'clock news, we're going to be talking to Charly Ray. He's a brand new candidate for state senate in Northwest Wisconsin. And we will be talking to Ashland area state representative Angela Stroud about what got done in the legislative fall session and a lot about what didn't get done. That's all still ahead. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Follow us at upnorthnewswi.com.
Let's all set sail with Captain Morgan, and we'll never leave dry land.
All right, look at this. Charlie's got the camera working.
How about that? I had to switch to an iPad.
Well, hey, let's hear it for the iPad then. All right, another one for Mac over Windows. Woo! So,
I'm not going to give it to him.
How you doing? You getting ready to hunker down there with a little bit of snow?
Getting ready to slip out before the blizzard.
Yeah,
That's
good idea.
That's our strategy is
Yeah.
load and go. We were going to leave yet tomorrow, but
All right. That sounds like a plan. All right. Well, look, you look good. You sound good. So let me tuck you back into the waiting room here. You can, run around, just keep the connection alive, and we'll pop you
Okay.
back up right about 7:05.
thanks a lot, Pat.
All right. See you soon. Yeah, Charlie was having some camera troubles yesterday, so he wanted to make sure plenty early that it works, and it clearly does. So we are in good shape.
I like it when guys show up early and can do that.
Yeah.
So thank you, Charlie.
Business grow with the #1 medium known to humankind, the radio commercial on WMDX. Long may you wave.
It's the Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. Clean Wisconsin is suing over new energy grid rules that allow power companies to fast-track gas-burning power plants. The group says the new process gives fossil fuels an unfair advantage over cheaper, cleaner wind and solar. Gas plants can now jump the line to be added to our energy grid ahead of other types of power generation. Wisconsin is already seeing a new 1.2 gigawatt gas plant in Kenosha County proposed under the new rules. The sun's going to be making a lot of ice in Milwaukee. Pettit Ice Arena is going solar with an enormous rooftop array that will offset 20% of the arena's energy use. With nearly 97,000 square feet of ice, Pettit Ice Arena is one of the largest indoor skating facilities in the country. Right now on the Defender podcast, new power plants are in the works to serve data centers in Wisconsin. Will you be paying part of the bill? Listen at cleanwisconsin.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns, it's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
At Furlough Mattress, Black Friday is going on all month long. Get a free adjustable base upgrade with a mattress set purchase. Every mattress we make is factory direct and custom made locally.
Welcome back. Jimmy Cliff, we mentioned it briefly yesterday, the charismatic reggae pioneer and actor who preached joy and defiance and resilience in classics like You Can Get It If You Really Want, Many Rivers to Cross, and more. He starred in the landmark movie The Harder They Come. He passed away at the age of 81, his wife confirmed on Monday. To all of his fans around the world, his family writes, please know that your support was his strength throughout his whole career. He appreciated each and every fan for their love. Cliff was a native Jamaican with a spirited tenor, according to the AP, and a gift for catchphrases and topical lyrics. He joined Kingston's emerging music scene in his teens and helped lead a music movement in the 1960s that included future stars like Peter Tosh, Toots Hibbert, and Bob Marley. Again, Jimmy Cliff passing away at the age of 81. Okay, in other entertainment news that Parker Olson's following for us, again, Black Friday is coming up. maybe you need some ideas for your holiday shopping, for your holiday baking, depending on the kind of baking that we're talking about, Parker.
Yeah, it depends on whatever you want to do. Snoop Dogg has a cookbook, and if you were wondering, I know what your next question is. The answer is yes. There are treats to eat. There are 55 recipes that allow the baker the option of adding weed. You don't need to.
The option.
The option. It's up to you. This is about choice, Pat.
Okay.
When you're making your food for yourself. That Snoop Dogg has suggested you make.
I saw him being interviewed for TMZ about this, and the problem with Snoop was that it looked like he may not have even read some of his own recipes. He was expressing a lack of familiarity with some of them, so he wasn't exactly giving the best commercial for legalizing pot. Or maybe he was. He did not have a care in the world during this interview.
That very well could be. Snoop, I think, America's sweetheart.
Look,
I say this only a little ironically.
Look, he and Martha Stewart did this thing, where they played off each other's, completely polar opposite image and teamed up and made it work. And it allowed Snoop Dogg, who, could have been relegated to the, growing collection of 80s, 90s has-beens.
Yeah.
And instead, he became like the main feature commentator for NBC's coverage of the Olympics. What?
Yeah, he also has a bowl game, I think. I don't know if it still is, but for the last couple of years, there was a Snoop Dogg bowl.
It's just so weird to watch somebody reinvent themselves a couple of times over. And by reinvent, I don't mean like everything, but just rather than getting stale, they kind of, add another wrinkle,
Yeah.
Tony putting up on YouTube, he made a 180-degree turn from gangsta rapper to America's sweetheart. 100% agree with Parker. Yeah. And I mean, again, I say that more as an observer. I couldn't tell you 5 songs that Snoop did, but I can tell you I've definitely tapped my toe to more than a few of them. They're not bad songs.
I'm not sure that Snoop Dogg is toe tapping material.
Oh, I don't know. Some of it is. I mean, again, not some of the the gangsta stuff, but
yeah.
There's been plenty of upbeat stuff. So that's your cooking, huh? That's your cookbook.
Yep, that's what we're doing for Thanksgiving.
It's really different than author Laura Bird joined us this week, and we'll play her back on Thursday, and then she's going to come back again on Friday and talk about book recommendations because it's that time of year. And one of them was a cookbook, and it's all about seasonal cooking, and the different foods just taste differently during the seasons, especially the way that you can prepare them. And it's a very thick book. I looked; it's a kind of an expensive book too, like $55 or something like that.
Oh wow!
But I mean, it's got a lot in there. And then on the other hand, it's Snoop, and whether you want to put weed in all of these treats, it's.
She did not suggest Snoop Dogg's book, by the way. This is a different book.
By the way, Frank, our executive producer, just sent a note. We're going to be sure to add gin and juice to our bumper music catalog. I don't know. We try to be very wide-ranging about it, Let's get a little sports here at 6:58 before we head up to the news. The Milwaukee Bucks are officially in a slump. They have lost 5 in a row now after falling to the Portland Trail Blazers at home last night, 115-103. Giannis missed a 3rd straight game with a groin strain. Their next game will be tomorrow in Miami. It will be part of the, get the Vuvuzelias ready, part of the NBA Cup. There they are. Okay, I knew they'd be along.
Sometimes the horns just need to charge up a little.
I understand. That's totally fine. So anyway, that's a cup game. That's tomorrow in Miami. The Packers, meanwhile, remember, they play on Thanksgiving. They play at noon. Pregame coverage begins at 10 a.m. on several stations of the Civic Media Radio Network. Maybe you're more into basketball. Well, we got you covered on Thanksgiving as well. The Badger men's basketball team will be playing Providence at a tournament in San Diego. Coverage begins Thursday at 2:30 on several Civic Media stations. And, of course, looking ahead to the weekend, we've got some Badger football. Badgers at Minnesota playing for Paul Bunyan's Axe. Coverage begins at 12:30 on Saturday, kickoff at 2:30 on several Civic Media Network stations. All right, again, coming up yet, we've got a theme of what your legislature got done in its fall session, what it didn't get done, how it's motivating some people to run for office. We're going to be talking to Charly Ray, a new candidate for state senate up in northwest Wisconsin, coming up in just a bit. We'll talk to Ashland State Representative Angela Stroud, and in our 8 o'clock hour, we'll be talking to Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner and some of their reporting of what your legislature has been considering, doing, and not doing all along the way. Plus, Cam Stevenson, live from the nation's capital. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
MDXradio.com.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Tens of thousands of planes in the air today filled with travelers trying to get somewhere for Thanksgiving. ABC Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
The FAA says that today is the busiest day with 52,000 flights expected. Now, we're told there is solid staffing at towers and control centers nationwide. The FAA is calling this week their Super Bowl. And it's really no surprise why, because the TSA thinks it's going to screen nearly 18 million people for the holiday.
A powerful line of storms slamming the south. Multiple reports of tornadoes touching down north of Houston. Extensive damage to about 100 homes reported. Russia launching a new wave of attacks on Ukraine's capital. At least 7 people were killed in strikes that hit energy infrastructure and city buildings in the capital of Kyiv. A federal judge dismissing criminal cases against both former FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General Letitia James, saying the prosecutor who filed the charges was appointed illegally. This is ABC News.
Parallel parking in Madison? Impossible. Finding real conversation on the radio? Probable. With 92.7 WMDX.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. It's the busiest travel week of the year. More people hit the road for Thanksgiving than any other holiday. AAA estimates 1.65 million people in Wisconsin will be traveling more than 50 miles away. That's about 28% of our whole population. And with a 2% rise in travelers this year, that would set a new record. A vast majority of people going on a trip for Thanksgiving will be driving. So as usual for the holiday, be ready for a lot of traffic. There are some time frames that will be particularly busy. If you're hitting the road, listen up. Roads will be busiest today from noon to 9, tomorrow from 11 to 8, and all day long on Sunday. There are a few highway construction projects, including I-3990 from the Beltline to Sun Prairie, I-94 from Dane to Jefferson counties, Highway 51 in McFarland and in Stoughton, and 18151 in Verona. Advocates and law enforcement are urging you to have a designated driver if you'll be drinking. Holidays can turn tragic when people drive impaired. Data shows on average 173 people die each year over the Thanksgiving holiday in drunk driving crashes. That's 35% of all traffic deaths during that time period. To keep the roads safer, AAA has activated its Tow-to-Go program. Someone who has their car with them and maybe imbibed more than they planned can call, and a tow truck will take the person and their car to their destination, only within a 10-mile radius. But the program is free, and you do not have to be a AAA member. Meanwhile, some Wisconsinites are taking to the skies, about 8% of people traveling. On average, round-trip flights for Thanksgiving cost about $700, which is similar to what they cost last year. According to AAA's report, the top destinations for Wisconsinites are mostly in Florida. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
The Bucks head to Miami. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NBA. The Bucks head to Miami tomorrow night to face the Heat. Last night, the Bucks losing at home to the Portland Trail Blazers, 115-103. Doc Rivers on how Portland's Jamie Grant finished with 35 points.
Just beating us off the dribble, being more physical. But we're getting killed every night at the free throw line. Every night. And it's us. It's not the refs. It's us. We got to figure out a way of playing defense better. Without fouling, and we got to figure out a way of getting to the foul line ourselves.
NFL, the Packers back at practice. Tomorrow afternoon, a short flight to Detroit to play the Lions on Thanksgiving. The Badgers football team in Minnesota Saturday to play the Gophers. Luke Fickell says he wants to finish the season with the Paul Bunyan axe.
What makes college football special is rivalries. The number one most important thing is in a rivalry is respect. It's all about getting that axe.
That's Luke Fickell with Sports on Mike Clemens.
Our lakes are gorgeous. Just don't swim in them. 92.7 WMDX, keeping Madison honest, one broadcast at a time.
A little drizzle this morning, mostly cloudy all day with a few more scattered rain showers later this afternoon. Our high today, upper 40s to low 50s. Tonight, rain off and on through the night. Our low dropping into the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, cloudy with some rain likely at a high in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature 44.
This portion of John and Gordy brought to you by Verlo. Experience the Verlo mattress difference. For a limited time, purchase a mattress from the V3 collection and get a free upgrade to an adjustable foundation. American-made, locally crafted, right here in Madison. Come shop at Verlo and sleep well tonight.
Where working people come to talk. It's the Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network. Join me for an honest approach to the issues American working families care about. No talking points, no focus groups. Get ready for a heavy dose of democracy, fairness, grit, and no apologies. It's current affairs from a working class labor perspective. Facts are center, science is real, and everyone gets a seat at the table. The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm Angela Bassett. For 33 million Americans,
30 seconds until we're back.
Live across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here is the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Thank you, Don Rue. Good morning. Welcome back. Nice to have you here up north on a Tuesday morning, November 25th, 2025. I'm Pat Kreitlow in Chippewa Falls. Parker Olson producing things down in Madison Studio A2. Charly Ray is standing by from the Washburn area, new candidate for the legislature, a seat in the state Senate in northwest Wisconsin. And then in our next half hour, we will be talking to a legislator from northwest Wisconsin, State Representative Angela Stroud. We didn't have to go to northwest Wisconsin for this. We could have talked to any member of the legislature about the fall session, what got done, what didn't get done. You'd probably hear some uniform answers from one side of the aisle, and Angela Stroud will not hesitate to share what she thinks could have been done in Madison, but did not get done, which also might be motivating people like Charly Ray to run for a seat in the state Senate as well. So we've got all of that along the way. First, a reminder, with it being a holiday week, we will, on Thursday, have the best kind of Thanksgiving leftovers. Some of our great conversations recently, including pediatrician Dr. Kelly Snooks talking about measles outbreaks, signs and symptoms to watch out for, the safety of the vaccine as well. We'll hear from Chuck Collins from the group Patriotic Millionaires. You probably hear those spots throughout the day here on Civic Media radio stations, and so we learn more about the group that way. And then we've got some fresh material for you on Friday to get you into the Thanksgiving/Black Friday weekend. That includes, as usual on Fridays, our Weekend Review panel and Greg Bach joining us for our history lesson. And I cannot promise you that Greg Bach and I will not sing a Glenn Campbell song at some point during his visit on Friday. So tune in for what may or may not happen there. Spoiler alert. Greg and I will sing to Glenn Campbell anytime. All right, let's see. The Up North News Daily newsletter is out for today. You can sign up over at upnorthnewswi.com. Click subscribe up in the top banner. And in the newsletter this morning is a story about the prehistoric wonders that are being discovered around Madison's Lake Mendota, where several ancient canoes have been found over the past few years, some of them going back more than 1,000 years. And the kinds of things that we're learning about the indigenous people that had settled in that area all that time ago. So to learn more, you can get our newsletter by signing up at upnorthnewswi.com. Let's see. We've also got we've asked a couple of questions today. We've mentioned that our question of the day deals with what's the worst song that has ever charted, because this is the 40th anniversary of "We Built This City" by Starship, reaching #1, and some people think it's the worst song ever, and they're wrong. It's Sister Christian by Night Ranger. Anyway, then there's our question of the week from our Sunday morning newsletter, asking, how do you feel about the AI boom? Are you mostly optimistic, mostly pessimistic, somewhere in the middle about its impact on, jobs, the effect of misinformation, things like that? So a lot of responses have been emailed in already to that one. To see our question of the week first, again, head over to our website and get our Sunday morning newsletter that I put together every weekend for you as well. Well, except this coming weekend. We're gonna take Thanksgiving weekend off from our politics newsletter. You're gonna get a heaping helping of politics over Thanksgiving dinner, perhaps. So we'll pause for 1 week before we get the show back on the road. 7:10 right now. Let's get to know one of the new candidates for state legislature. Charly Ray up in the Washburn area is running in the 25th State Senate District, a very purpley part of northwest Wisconsin. So let's find out more about him and what motivated that campaign. Charly Ray, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Pat. Thanks for having me on. How are you this morning?
Very good, thanks. Well, nice to have you, and we'll not keep you long because you're dodging an incoming blizzard. So I'm sure that you've got things to do up around that area. Charly, tell folks a little bit about yourself. What's your background, and then we'll get into why you decided to run.
Well, thanks, Pat. Yeah, I've been working in local issues up here for a couple decades. I've been on the town board for a decade, 8 years there as a town board chair, which gets you real close to getting the potholes filled, the roads graded, and the snow taken off the local roads. And some folks, actually previous county board members, suggested I look at the county board, and I stepped up to county board 6 years ago and ran for that position, and I've really enjoyed working with a nonpartisan county board, getting things done, figuring out some solutions, from simple things like we just got online dog licensing set up in Bayfield County for the first time. So I'm very excited about that small thing that will make life a little bit easier for folks, make things more efficient for our town clerks. But I'm also willing to take on the bigger issues like our county zoning code. I, like many people, get driven crazy by our out-of-date and confusing local zoning code. And I've taken on a leadership role there. I'm on the zoning committee, and we've decided to completely overhaul our entire zoning code up here. So that's a big lift, but I'm willing to take on the little things and the big things. So
wait a minute. So you're willing to work on the substance. You're willing to work on policy, the things that actually get things done for people?
Yeah, Pat, I hate to say that. That might get me in trouble in this campaign because what I see coming out of Madison is a lot of distraction and smoke and mirrors and not focusing on some real major things that we need to deal with, like our healthcare system, our public education funding, and figuring out how to let our local communities have more control over their future.
Well, I'm certainly familiar with that in 2006, having run for state senate against a Republican incumbent, and you're up against the same thing. So what are you telling people about why they should make a change in that particular state senate district, Charly?
Well, I think people realize it's time for a change. I think we've had 28 out of the last 30 years dominated by the Republican Party in the state legislature, and I don't think we've really seen that much happen in a positive way. So, there's been structural things led by the Republicans that are coming to fruition, like our school funding situation is just hitting crisis levels. And that's a long-term structural setup to underfund our public schools. And we're seeing this with just repeated referendum after referendum and trying to just keep our operations going for our local schools. So something's not working with that structure, and we got to address that. So I think people are ready for a change, Pat.
We're talking to Charly Ray, and you can learn more at Ray, that's R-A-Y, Rayforwi, Ray4WI, RayForwi.com. Similarly, on Facebook, look for Ray4WI, Rayforwi. Again, Charly Ray running for state senate. You were talking about the work you've done at the local government level, but let's hear more about your own personal interests and what you've done for professional experience.
Yeah, I've been a professional forester for 20 years up here. My background's in environmental studies, so I've got a more general, broad background. I worked in wetlands policy and water policy before getting into full-time forestry. So I've been setting up timber sales. I do invasive species control, help people manage their land. My wife and I also own Honest Dog Books up in Bayfield, which is new and used books, and we have a theater now. So it's a full-service, multi-faceted small business. So small businessman, forester, raised 2 kids up here. And I was interested to hear about the historic canoes they found in Madison, because canoeing is a huge part of my life. My wife and I undertook a honeymoon canoe expedition from here up into across northern Canada and spent the winter up there.
Marriage encounter right from the get-go, as we would call it. And at no point did you take a paddle to the head, which is why that marriage lasts. We're talking to Charly Ray, candidate for state senate in the 25th district. That's up in northwest Wisconsin. A lot of these districts have changed, and for folks that might not be aware, there was a change made to get rid of the so grossly gerrymandered legislative maps. And last year, in 2024, that led to a lot of changes in assembly districts because all of the assembly seats were up. The state senate is a 4-year term, so only half the senate seats were up last time. The other half of senate seats are up in 2026 with a lot of changed districts, a lot of more competitive districts, Charlie. So when you look at that and you look at the potential for Democrats to win control of the state senate and or the assembly and or hold the governor's office as well, what do you see as the best potential for Wisconsin? Where can Wisconsin go if things go well in 2026 for you and others?
Well, if things go well, we should be looking at a trifecta where the Democrats take control of the legislature and the governorship for the first time in decades. And we've got a real possibility for some positive change for the people of Wisconsin. There's talk about how we can address healthcare more seriously and deeply for Wisconsin residents. We will be able to undertake reform of the school funding formula, things that have been blocked, real conversations that have been blocked through the distractions of the Republican-dominated legislature and governorship for a long time. So that's one of the reasons I'm engaged, Pat. You mentioned our incumbent senator, Mr. Quinn. He's no longer in the district, so we have an open seat actually in the 25th. We're not going against an incumbent. We have 2 Republicans in the primary already. And the district boundaries, as you pointed out, are now shifted, and they follow the county lines instead of gerrymandering partially out of counties. So it's the 4 counties in the north, and then Ashland, Bayfield, Douglas, Iron, and then Sawyer, Burnett, Washburn, and Polk County down in the northwest corner of Wisconsin there. So I think we got a real possibility to turn this seat. We only need 2 seats to flip in the Senate in order to take the Senate. And this district is one of 7 that is targeted for a likely flip. So I plan to be part of that, Pat.
Yeah. Charly Ray is our guest running for state senate in the newly redrawn 25th Senate District, which is where I got confused on the incumbents here. But, just picking on the education funding alone, and I've only got about a minute here till break, but, we are seeing just a parade of school referendums. And you're going to hear from people, there's just too many local school referendums. There's a problem here. What's the solution to that, Charlie?
There's no easy solution to these things, Pat. It's a tough conversation that's got to be had. I think one solution is we have to find some funding streams for schools that do not come from our local tax rolls, because it's just breaking us locally. I mean, I pay taxes locally here. I've seen the taxes go up, and the schools are at the top of the list. And it's also not fair. That's justice is an animating motivator for me in this, and it's not fair to have some school districts that have very high value and don't have problems raising money. And then other districts that just struggle, and we're not even going to be able to rebuild some of these schools when they crumble after 100 years. So we got to do something.
No, and it's like I said, with all these referendums, you know, my general recommendation is say yes to the referendum, say no to the people who have set up this environment where we have nothing but referendums because of a generation now of chronic underfunding of our public schools. Charly Ray is our guest. He's a candidate for state senate, 25th district out of Washburn up in northwest Wisconsin, and coming up at 7:35, we are going to be talking to State Representative Angela Stroud from the Ashland area. We'll get more into, you know, what the legislature has done and what they didn't get done, and the things that still could be done after the holidays. There's still a little bit of time before Republicans send the legislature home for a 9-month paid vacation. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. All right, we're in a commercial break now for 2.5 minutes, and so I'm going to get up to the issues page here. And
thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so we've already kind of touched on education here, so we'll do a little health care, we'll do a little bit of local control, and then we'll get you on your way.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we'll get going again 2 minutes from now. We'll see you in a bit.
They help John and Gordy hear better, and they can help you too. Madison Hearing Aid Center.
Hey, honey, how was your day?
Yours?
Pretty good. Guess what? The boss asked me to find a place for the holiday party this year.
Oh, I know a place that'd be just...
Yes, right here. We think so alike.
No,
we can put some
wait.
text.
No, not
what?
our house. Sugar River Pizza.
You
You already told them they could be here, didn't you?
Yeah, well...
I'm sure you thought catering from Sugar River would be just fine.
Sure.
Yeah, but you've seen that huge room in the back of the Sugar River Pizza at their Sun Prairie location.
Yes.
It's ideal for a holiday party.
Well, yes.
Fabulous pizza, that pulled pork you love, pasta, soup, sandwiches.
Yeah.
Anyone can get exactly what they want.
And it's better than your meatloaf. Well, let me call them.
What did you just say? You said you like my meatloaf.
I did. No, Sugar River Pizza in Sun Prairie. That is a great idea. You're brilliant. Thanks, hon.
Plan your next office or holiday party with Sugar River Pizza in Sun Prairie. Get to sugarriverpizza.com/catering to book today.
What exactly is wrong with my meatloaf?
I like it. Most of the time,
Wait,
it's pretty good.
most of the time?
Well,
Pretty good?
Kind of, yeah.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
This portion of the John and Gordy Show is brought to you by Verlo Mattress.
20 seconds till we're back.
Welcome back. Still ahead, we'll be talking to Cam Stevenson live from Washington, D.C., from Courier Newsroom about things happening in the nation's capital. And then a little later, Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner will be here as well. Hey, just a reminder that Civic Media also has its own new daily newsletter, and you can find it over on Substack. Head to civicmediatoday.substack.com and get yourself caught up on all the program notes and more. civicmediatoday.substack.com. Let's see. Online, we've got Tony up in Ashland, who reminds us that there is an easy answer. The legislature and the state should properly fund schools. Yes, Tony, exactly. He also says, love the maps in Charlie's background. Pat needs more maps. So, Charlie, I will be reaching out to you to borrow some of your maps at some point here. But yeah, it looks good there. Charly Ray's joining us now from the Washburn area, running for state senate in the 25th Assembly District. You can learn more over at his website, which is Ray, R-A-Y, 4, F-O-R-W-I. So ray4wi.com, and look up Ray4WI on Facebook as well. Charlie, we talked about education before the break here. Let's talk a bit about healthcare. Certainly, the thing that gets the most attention is Wisconsin being among the few states that have not yet expanded Medicaid, and more recently, hasn't even expanded Medicaid protection to women who've just delivered babies. Clearly, there's room for improvement on health care in this legislature.
Yeah, there certainly is, Pat, and I hope Angela will address that recent health care policy miss that happened in Madison. In talking to people and trying to figure out what we can do on healthcare, I didn't realize, but the Medicaid reimbursement rates are set by Wisconsin policy. So there are things we can do even with these federal programs, including accepting the Medicaid expansion, that will, what I think people forget in this stuff is they get focused on maybe somebody's getting something that I feel like I don't have, but this is all of our health we're talking about here, and the cost of our health care depends on all of us being healthy and the whole population, and getting our providers reimbursed adequately for the services that they're providing. So if we can expand the pool of people that are being kept healthy, that brings down our costs for everybody. If we can increase what we reimburse our providers, well, that makes more providers available for all of us. So there's stuff we can do, and I'm interested in thinking outside of the box and bigger picture. Working here in the county, I see how our county delivers different parts of healthcare services in different levels. And I'm thinking of the Meals on Wheels program that helps seniors stay at home. I'm thinking about our nursing home that our county's invested in and kept open through lots of help. And we've got our nursing home back on its feet again. And so I think the state can play an active role in that kind of activity that helps keep costs down again. If you keep people, elders in their home, they are healthier and stay, they're not costing the medical system. And if we can have nursing homes that are in our communities, people have better outcomes than if they have to go abroad, out of town to get nursing care help.
And you can see a lot of this on Charly Ray's website, again, ray4wi.com, on the issues page, where he emphasizes healthcare as well as education. And in our final couple minutes here, local control as well, because you have extensive experience serving in local government. I remember when Republicans, took control of state government 15 years ago based on a promise of being the party of local control. They have proven to be anything but. So what is it that would need to change if you were to be elected to the legislature, Charlie?
Well, there's lots that needs to change, Pat. I think I've started a list of laws that I would like to see repealed that would give us more local control. And top of my list is the law that limits a county's ability to use to set conditions when we issue a permit. So there's a substantial evidence requirement right now on conditional use permits, which basically ties the hands of your local government because we can't put any reasonable conditions on some development proposal in order to be comfortable with going ahead with it. So we're left with a choice of no conditions whatsoever, let the project rip, and hopefully our community won't be destroyed by this project, or say no to the project. So it seems like a good idea to, hey, you got to have some reason on your conditions, but the truth is people in general have common sense out in the country. And are we going to trust Madison to make these rules that are going to determine what our communities look like and what kind of development we have? Or are we going to trust our local elected officials to make those calls? And I think what you point out, Pat, is everybody believes in local control until they disagree with their locals, and then they want to kick it up to Madison. And I think what you see is the lobbyists go to Madison, and then when they don't get the right answer there, they go to D.C. and look for an answer there.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep it local.
Alicia says on YouTube, this entire session of the legislature has been about wrenching more control from counties and municipalities, which is especially important as we're talking about data centers and factory farms and, a host of other developments that, again, it's not about being anti-development, but it is most certainly against, and it being against sprawl and destroying our resources. And that's where we need some good people in the legislature. Charly Ray is running for the state Senate seat in the 25th district up in Northwest Wisconsin. Charlie, congrats on the campaign launch. Keep in touch and safe travels along the campaign trail.
Thanks, Pat. We'll be in touch. I really appreciate it. Have a good morning.
You bet. Take care there. And again, that's Charly Ray, and you can get more at Ray, F-O-R-W-I, R-A-Y-F-O-R-W-I, Ray4WI.com, and Ray4WI on Facebook. All right, still ahead, we're going to talk to State Representative Angela Stroud from Northwest Wisconsin about some of the things that did and didn't get done in this latest session, a floor session for the State Senate and the State Assembly. And then Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner will have more to say about it in our 8:30 half hour. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. Follow us at upnorthnewswi.com. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. All right, we're in break, Charlie. We are good to go.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pat. That was fun.
That was outstanding. Yeah, we'll talk again real soon. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Will do.
All right.
And, I'll wave as we drive by. See you later.
Anytime. See ya.
Yep. Bye.
We got a couple nice texts, too.
Hey, good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
How are you?
It's a little early on this pre-Thanksgiving Tuesday. Or wherever we are.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, I think we're good to go. Anything new? Anything you want to make sure I include on the list here? Or are we all good to
I'm
go?
ready to go wherever you want.
I kind of figured as much. All right, you're a pro. We'll get going in 90 seconds. I'll see you in a bit.
We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Well, if you're listening to us live on the radio, then it's 7:35 on Tuesday morning, November 25th. If you're not, then that didn't really matter. That time check did it. But either way, we love having you along, live or later on demand, by following the show as a podcast. Head over to Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News, and that way you never miss a guest, never miss a topic. You can always come back and listen to something again if you like. Let's see. We've got one of our questions today was about some of the worst music that charted, the things that you disliked the most, from Jim and Campbell Sport, Flock of Seagulls, I Ran So Far Away. The quintessential 80s tune right there. Tomorrow on the program, we will have State Representative Christian Phelps and State Senator Jeff Smith. They will be part of our homeroom segment. Remember last week, in our homeroom segment, we had two members of a Blue Ribbon Commission from back in 2017, 2018, looking for a bipartisan solution on reforming the way we pay for our schools. And so we talked to those two commission members from back in the day. And tomorrow, we're going to talk to Representative Phelps and Senator Smith about how the things that were suggested or recommended in that Blue Ribbon Commission report, they're still very doable. You just maybe need to change the makeup of the legislature to get some of those bipartisan ideas through, and maybe not have quite so much extremism in the legislature. That segment is coming up 24 hours from now here on these mornings powered by Up North News. Also tomorrow, Up North News newsletter editor Ellie Bordeaux will talk about an article she's written on a way that you can reward the small businesses that invest in our communities. So stay tuned for all of that on the program tomorrow. But coming up right now, we head back up to the Ashland area. State Representative Angela Stroud represents that neck of the woods and is completed with the fall session of the State Assembly for now. Angela, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. We've had a pretty common theme here, and let me first back up for listeners to say the legislature's not done yet, but the legislature, you can kind of think about it as a play in three acts. Act one is the state budget. They do that. And then Act 2, we just finished. That's the fall session after the state budget where you try to get a lot of stuff done. Act 3 comes in like January, February, maybe early March of next year, where they try to cram everything else in. And then they get much of the rest of the year off. At least that's the way Republican leadership runs things right now. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Act 2, this fall session. And should we go with a grade? If you were going to give it a grade for productivity and success, how would you rate the fall session?
I'd give it a D. I won't call it an F because there were things happening, but they weren't great. Mm-hmm. And there's two distinctions, as you know. There's the bills that are introduced where there are a lot of good ideas, and then there are the bills that are heard in committee and that make it to the floor. And those bills, so many of them, I mean, occasionally there are some that are bipartisan and are reasonable and good ideas, but by and large, it's just such a waste of taxpayer money.
Oh, there's no doubt there. I mean, the things, and not just the things that say Republicans are passing that they know Governor Tony Evers will veto, but the things that they pass a second time or a third time, again, knowing they're going to be vetoed, as if that's making some kind of a statement when the statement does appear to be a waste of taxpayer time and resources. And yet we find ourselves into these areas where, well, here's one we discussed last Friday. First, before that, there was the redefining abortion, as if politicians can do that, and then taking it a step further, a rather extreme bill being introduced that would require, in some cases, people, women who suffer miscarriages to have to collect the tissue and bring it into a doctor's office to be looked at. Again, just as intimidation against, chemically induced abortions, you're really learning a lot, Representative Stroud, about where the priorities have been on the Republican side of the aisle in this session.
It is shocking. And those two bills in particular, I mean, I saw a clip online of the debates, and it's pretty clear that Republicans, and even the ones who are considered moderate, I want to be clear, this is not just the extremes, are setting up for a future where their goal is to criminalize abortion again. And it's unbelievable that that continues to be their focus. I mean, our state has so many needs. We have so many challenges. I'm so glad Christian Phelps is going to be on tomorrow. Education funding is one of our biggest challenges. Everybody's about to feel that. When you open your property tax bill next month and you realize that the legislature is still trying to talk about abortion, then you can really get a sense for how just extreme and irresponsible this legislature is.
Well, and it seems to be what they what they do best. I mean, one of the bills that they passed, I'm not going to say whether it's a bipartisan idea is up for debate, but school consolidation. Now, it's one thing to help school districts, reward them for being more efficient, but there are plenty of lawmakers who saw that bill as simply a way to undermine public schools by, again, urging more about consolidation or merging districts rather than fixing years and years of chronic underfunding. How did you see that debate playing out?
I have very strong feelings about this. Representing a rural area, I take this really seriously. And, if you have tried everything possible, you're funding schools, you're helping them be more streamlined, you're helping them be more efficient, you're actually trying to address healthcare costs, and then you still see population decline that you can't really confront, then you should consider consolidation. I mean, I think that's a practical thing after everything else has been tried. But I talked about this in a floor speech. Closing a school, especially a rural school, is a death sentence for a rural community. It puts them on a death spiral. Property values drop, investments go away, and really you start to see that exacerbation of population decline. And so it's really just cynical is the word that comes to mind, that they, after so many years of disinvestment, now are like, hey, here's some money for something, school closure. That's the one time they want to fund public education, is when they're making an investment to close a school. It's just, these are anti-public school people. And I hope that people really pay attention to that and hold them accountable.
We're talking to State Representative Angela Stroud from Ashland about the fall session of the legislature that was just completed, things that got passed, although may likely get vetoed, and the kinds of things that didn't get done. I mean, some things are on a perpetual list, sadly, about this, Representative Stroud. Healthy school meals for all, clean water initiatives, affordable housing, improving the shared revenue situation. And it's not as if good ideas weren't put on the table. And I don't just mean that in a Democratic Party sense, but yes, in a lot of cases, these were Democratic initiatives where the message didn't appear to be my way or the highway. The message appeared to be, hey, here's where we're starting. Can we talk about these and maybe make some progress on some of these things? And it really sounds more like there was just a brick wall on the other side of the aisle.
Our bills never get a chance for a committee hearing. I mean, we don't even get a chance to have the conversation to say, how could we make a policy or a law that would improve people's lives? And so, yeah, it's the total brick wall. Even conversations, I find I try to reach out to Republicans. Sometimes I have meetings, but what I often hear in those meetings is, yeah, leadership's never going to accept this. Yeah, leadership's never going to be okay with this. Yeah, we're not going to be able to move this forward. And it's always a no. Even some of my Republican colleagues, I think they want to get stuff done, but they're dealing with a leadership that's focused on one thing and one thing only, that's holding on to power. And so they think the way to hold on to power is to make sure Democrats never get a win, including the governor. Apparently, there are some issues where Veterans Affairs issues, for example, they do not want the governor to get a win helping veterans. So rather than us doing anything to help vets, Republicans just want to block it to make sure that it doesn't happen. I mean, it's the opposite of what should be happening in our legislature.
Yeah, I mean, the things that they focus on instead were attacking, the so-called 400-year veto that Governor Evers put into school funding, rather than, again, address the root cause of underfunded schools. And then things like, increasing the felony penalties for damaging statues, because, again, there's just so much that seems to be more about talking points than getting things done. I mean, you mentioned veterans. The thing that I don't know what you could call more shameful. The lack of extending Badger Care coverage for postpartum women to 12 months, or pretending they didn't defund the programs that help homeless veterans.
I know. Well, let's not make it a competition. Let's call them both shameful.
See, that's what you can do in politics. Yes. And they both are. There's something for everybody to look at and say, why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't you work together on that?
I think this is 15 years of failed leadership. I mean, it's time for something new. They really are they have a one style of approach to everything, and it's block, 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 tear down. If they get excited. You mentioned the statute provision. If we're going to increase felonies or lock more people up, they're all about that. Let's talk about that, all day, every day. I'm pretty sure if a Dem put out a bill that said, I want to put, 10% more people in jails, they'd be all over that. But that's pretty much the only topic that gets them excited and interested in doing some work.
Yeah. There are so many issues surrounding affordability. Childcare, for example, there was some work done on childcare in the state budget, but it wasn't, the wholesale extension of childcare counts. And so between that and all the other affordability initiatives that, the Democratic caucuses put out, it just feels like you're going to be able to go back. Not that this should be about campaigning, but you are going to be able to go back next year, it sounds like, and say, here are all the affordability issues that a state government really could address, but this legislature decided not to.
Yeah. I mean, at the top of the list, property taxes, because of our failure to fund schools. And then we have utilities. I mean, there's childcare, there's healthcare, all up and down the list. People really need government to work. And I think it's hard for Republicans when you have an anti-government ideology. And you don't have, of course, the market isn't going to solve our healthcare problem. Then you're stuck in this in between where you really can't meet people's needs. So you've got to make it about culture wars, and you've got to make it about some, bizarre topics that normal people generally don't care about. What they really care about is paying their bills. And it's our job to really help voters understand that, so they can really connect the dots and realize one party's looking out for you and the other party is out to lunch.
We're talking to State Representative Angela Stroud from the Ashland area. Tony writes from Ashland, my wife had a question about daycare, and Angela and her office were very responsive, excellent constituent service. Always nice to see that. And from Alicia, she says, and this is secondhand, I will acknowledge. Side note, I was told by a Republican legislator that they really didn't do anything or make a big deal about homeless veterans because they didn't get phone calls. First off, ugh, just arg. Second, I'm one who will tell you as a legislator, phone calls can be very effective. It's good to know what people are thinking. It's good to know what people are demanding. But to say you won't do something because your phone isn't ringing, again, is just it's just an abdication of your own individual responsibility as a legislator. It's just, well, what does leadership want me to do? And it's just lemming-like behavior if what Alicia's saying there is true.
It's very, very, very top down on their side. And, there are structural reasons for that. On the Republican side, the leadership controls the campaign dollars. And so they go in and say, what do you want from me today? Like, that's the attitude. Yeah. Whereas from my perspective, I am a representative. I represent the people in my district. And so I listen to them and then I go and fight for them. And I don't know why that's novel, that's what it's supposed to be.
It shouldn't be. It's like I said last week, with Robin Voss standing up against the postpartum expansion bill that 30 Republicans have sponsored. If a Democratic leader in the Assembly or Senate did that, he or she would be replaced that day. I know, because I've seen it happen. Yeah. State Representative Angela Stroud from Ashland, always great to catch up with you. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for being here.
You too. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right, take care. Coming up after 8 o'clock, Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner about some of the things being considered in the Capitol, and Cam Stevenson from Courier Newsroom, live from Washington, D.C. Live from Chippewa Falls, I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. There we go. We're good to go, Angela. Thank you so much.
Sorry, just pile on to Republicans. I do have original ideas also that we can talk
I know, but when we're doing the session, we got to go what they did. So we'll do this again. Next time we talk, it's going to be what's going to get proposed for January, February, March, and try to get things done. So we'll get that set up probably. Well, I don't know, have the calendar, but it'll be in early January, I'm sure.
All righty, sounds great.
Right.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you later. See ya. Bye.
All right, bye.
Hello, James.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right.
Got all my settings correct this time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had a settings issue.
Oh, last time everything was just in the wrong place.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. What do we got here? Oh, look at you. Look at this list. That's
Well, yeah, I figured we only got one day this week.
Yeah. Got to
Oh,
take
boy.
care of business. All right. Let's jump up here. There we go. All right. There we go. Let's see. Got anything there? Nope. And over here. Alicia says, by the way, that was told to me by a legislator who is a veteran. Well, that just makes it all the more shameful. All right, so we've got about a minute 45, and then we will be back. Oh, there's Rob from Tigerton. Good morning, Rob. We'll get to you after the 8 o'clock news as well.
Housekeeping Seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. And right now, for a limited time, you can upgrade your bathroom for 50% off installation or choose 18 months with no interest and no payments. But you need to call now. This special offer is only available by calling 800-329-4115. That's 800-329-4115. Call 800-329-4115 right now before the offer ends.
My name's John Driscoll, proud member of the Patriotic Millionaires. When I was CEO at CareCentrix, I doubled entry-level wages. The impact? Productivity went up, turnover went down, and the company was successful. When employees are off the clock, they're real consumers, the consumers that drive the economy with their spending. By paying employees a fair wage, we're actually helping out all of us in giving our economy the best chance to succeed. I'm John Driscoll, I'm a patriotic millionaire, and I approve this message.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here. Democracy is not a spectator sport, so join me each and every weekday right here on Civic Media for the Tom Hartman program from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Covering the
30 seconds until we're back.
Eight 855-75-CIVIC is the phone number here, 855-752-4842. We're asking about AI, among other topics today. Is it going to be a positive force in the long run? Is it going to be a mixed bag? Are we facing terrible consequences that haven't yet been foreseen? We'd love your point of view either in the comment sections or by text or by phone. Use the Civic Media app to do all of that as well. Let's check in now with James Kelly. You can follow his Chippewa Valley news updates on 93.5 The Tap. That's WCFW HD2. Also on the Civic Media app. And on the web, you can see his current headlines, weather, upcoming local sports, and more from 93.5 The Tap at this web address, thetap.fm. That again is thetap.fm. And James Kelly joins us now from the Civic Media newsroom in beautiful Chippewa Falls. James, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good as well. So I know that we have quiet Thanksgiving plans ahead of us here, which for those of us who aren't doing a lot of traveling means a lot of TV, maybe a little catch up on work. But I'm looking at your to-do list here, and you're going to deserve the relaxation. There's a lot going on here.
Oh, well, I always try to relax when I can. We never know when those times are going to come.
No, I totally agree with that. So your first item sounds very promising from the folks at Chippewa Valley Technical College, and I know that they have a firefighting training course. I didn't realize that they're doing some research that could actually be helpful with preventing future groundwater contamination.
Yeah, so this is an interesting story. There's a state Senate bill that got passed last week to establish a DNR grant program, essentially making it easier for fire departments to buy this new product called soy foam. It's a soybean-based fire suppressant, so it doesn't have all those PFAS that became popular in the 1960s. Now, it's actually interesting. I spoke to David Garley, who is a managing partner and the chief tech officer at this company, Cross Plains Solution. And he told me that back in World War II, they actually started using soybeans as fire suppressant. And it was very effective until they came up with the PFAS, which was more effective. So Chippewa Valley Technical College's Fire Safety Center has been helping them test out this new formula for the soybean-based firefighting foam over the past few years. And now that bill passed the state Senate. It'll go to the state assembly in the next couple of weeks. So definitely a very interesting use of the Fire Safety Center. Good testing site.
Yeah, kind of a way to get go back to the future, if you will, on this. All right, let's talk about the local drug take-back numbers that have been racked up in the Eau Claire area.
Yeah, so last week I spoke to someone from the Eau Claire City County Health Department who shared some of these numbers. It always interests me that Wisconsin is so highly ranked during these drug take-back days because it obviously doesn't have the biggest population out of any of these states. But since these began in, I think it was 2012, Wisconsin ranks third overall behind only Texas and California. And now most years it ranks first for each individual drug take-back day. In Eau Claire County, there were 2,000 pounds of medications returned through the spring and fall drug take-back day this year. I also spoke with them about some of the harm reduction vending machines going on in the area. They said that there's been over a couple thousand boxes of Narcan distributed over the last couple years and over 1,000 fentanyl test strips, which come in packs of 5. So that's really over 5,000.
Wow. Okay, well, first off, good for everybody who's not just flushing pills down the toilet that they don't need anymore. It's good to do the drug take-back numbers. My only concern, being the spouse of a physician is everybody taking their prescription the way they're supposed to be? Are you skipping some doses or something? But whatever the case may be, good on you all for taking it back and not polluting the groundwater. So that's great. Let's talk about the ongoing efforts in the Chippewa Valley to address homelessness and what's been happening there with the Career Development Center.
Yeah, so the L.E. Phillips Career Development Center is running this 100 Nights of Shelter campaign. Their goal is to raise enough money to get affordable emergency motel room stays for unhoused individuals in the Chippewa Valley. It's $80 per night for a motel room stay, and they're trying to get funding to at least have that all the way through early March. So basically the entire winter. What's interesting is I know we talk a lot about the resources that Eau Claire has available for unhoused individuals. Chippewa County doesn't have a homeless shelter.
No.
So for people up here, this is one of those programs that could make a really big difference for them when they're just out in the cold.
Right, and that was really the genesis behind the tiny houses program, which up here is known as Hope Village, and it started with churches. Several churches built one tiny home that a homeless family could use, and now it's become more of a program. And the financial thinking behind it is, it costs so much to build a tiny home, but compare that to, like you said, $80 a night motel vouchers. Those add up real fast.
Yep.
And it does not take long to make back the cost of constructing that tiny home for people to live in while they get back on their feet, while they get access to resources and everything. So, any of these things that can be done to address homelessness are definitely a net positive. All right, what else we got going on?
Well, the Chippewa Falls City Council approved the lot plans for the Rogers Behavioral Health Hospital. That's a new hospital. It could open in spring of 2027. They still have a few more approvals to get, but they're hoping to begin construction this spring. So when that opens up, they'll provide some mental health outpatient care, 14 beds for inpatient care, and 24 beds for longer-term residential treatment. It also received $10 million from the state legislature. And if you remember, that $15 million that was originally meant for this area out here was first meant for behavioral health services because there had been some losses there and they repurposed that money. So now another $10 million for this new center. It should fill a pretty desperate need in the Chippewa Falls area.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of those services were being provided by Sacred Heart Hospital in Eau Claire, which was in need of upgraded facilities even before the shutdown came.
Yep.
And so it's nice to see some positive action there. And just a few seconds left, but tourism is going to get another boost in the Eau Claire area.
Yeah, Visit Eau Claire and the city came to an agreement on a new 3-year contract. Pretty similar to the last agreement. Something new in this one is there's $85,000 set aside to develop a 10-year strategic plan for developing the tourism industry in the area. That's after a record-setting year for tourism again in Eau Claire.
Always nice to see that tourism sector growing. James Kelly has all this for us on our Chippewa Valley station through Civic Media, 93.5 The Tap, and follow him at thetap.fm. James, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks very much.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, coming up in our next hour, Cam Stevenson standing by in the nation's capital from Courier Newsroom, and then Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner. I'm Pat Kreitlow. You're up north. And there is Mr. Stevenson now. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So we got three good little topics here to start with. I know we've got more. I just those caught my eye from your report yesterday, and thank you for doing that report, by the way. That's very nice.
I mean, one, it helps me stay focused, and then hopefully it helps collaborate like between states and national, because I know that's always been I don't know, like kind of a weird gray area.
Yeah. So we got North Carolina, we got Home Depot, we got Doge. I would imagine we'd want to get. Do you want to start with Trump saying he's going to have a health plan and then getting pushback, and now there's not a health plan? I'm assuming that's.
Yeah. I think that'd be a get one to kick it off with.
All right. Concepts of a health plan.
Yeah.
All right. I think that'll get us going. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm hearing a playback somewhere. Are you listening to me through speakers instead of headphones?
I'll put my headphones in.
Oh, okay. Sounds fine. I'm gonna step away. Why don't you put those in, and Parker will give him a quick test. I'll be back.
All right. See, and make sure that didn't switch. All right, how's that sound?
I believe that sounds better. Yeah, it totally does.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
It wouldn't be a. Say what?
It wouldn't be a Tuesday if it wasn't a little tech issue, huh?
It took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. Got to give you something, you know. Don't want it to get boring.
I mean, hey, it's the third hour. You got to keep me on my toes somehow.
Jeez, I didn't realize. Oh man, how long does this go?
It's 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. we're on.
That's a good time. It's a good morning show.
It is. It's a very good morning show. Yes.
I enjoy it.
I will get you tucked back in the waiting room, and we'll be back in 3.5 minutes.
The Bucks with another loss, 115-103 to the Trailblazers last night in Milwaukee. Doc Rivers on their 5-game losing streak.
I think it's as much of an offensive problem, though, as it is a defensive problem. And, that's what I was doing with the coach. We got to figure it out like the coaches do. We got to take the burden off of them.
The Badgers basketball team now out of the top 25 rankings after losing to BYU by 28 points. They will host Providence this Thursday.
And we have to get better at things ourselves, and then we'll prepare for Providence as we go through the week. But I think the biggest thing is, how we respond and take the coaching, take the film work, and then bounce back on the court tomorrow afternoon and go back to work.
That's Badgers head coach Greg Gard. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
From the capital to your kitchen table, Madison's biggest stories live right here on 92.7 WMDX.
A little drizzle this morning, mostly cloudy all day with a few more scattered rain showers later this afternoon. Our high today, upper 40s to low 50s. Tonight, rain off and on through the night. Our low dropping into the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, cloudy with some rain likely at a high in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature 44.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at mda75.org.
This is Robert Pilot, host of Native Roots Radio. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. You'll also hear from Turtle Island voices like Arvina Martin, State Representative Heather Keeler, Ruth Anna Buffalo, Dr. Anthony Stately, State Senator Mary Kunish, Robert Lillich.
30 seconds until we're back.
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Hey, good morning, 8:06. Nice to have you back here up north on a Tuesday morning, November 25th, getting close to the big travel crunch for Thanksgiving. Just in time for a winter storm to be slamming into northwest Wisconsin starting later tonight, so pay attention to that forecast because we're talking, high winds, lots of snow. In the Lake Superior snow belt, Iron County, parts of the UP are going to see 1 to 3 inches per hour. You could also see 1 to 3 inches all the way down through central Wisconsin, but there's a winter storm warning starting tonight for pretty much everything north of Highway 8 and then a large swath of eastern and central Minnesota as well. So make your travel plans accordingly. We're going to talk to Cam Stevenson from Courier Newsroom in just a little bit, and then we'll have Erica Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner in to talk more about what the state legislature got done and what it didn't get done in its most recent fall session. Remember, you can keep in touch with everything that we're up to here by going to upnorthnewswi.com/mornings. At upnorthnewswi.com/mornings, you can sign up for our newsletters, including our Sunday morning political newsletter. You can subscribe to the show as a podcast right from that page, and you can read all my latest stories on our website. There's also a link to our YouTube channel, upnorthnewswi.com/mornings. And I know what you're thinking, Pat. You do all this stuff for Civic Media in the morning, then you do all this Up North News stuff the rest of the day. Are you the hardest working guy at the plate? No, not even close. Here's the guy that is. Cam Stevenson from Courier Newsroom is working up on Capitol Hill harder than pretty much all the rest of us at Courier Newsroom put together, and puts together things like Below the Beltway. You can subscribe to Cam Stevenson's newsletter at beltway.news or through couriernewsroom.com for plenty of updates and insight from Capitol Hill. Cam, how are you?
I am blown away by that intro. That was something else.
I'm sorry, did I create a database, a searchable database with 20,000 Epstein files? No, you did that, along with all of your other day-to-day reporting. So, just take the W, Cam.
I appreciate it. I'll take it. It's a week of thankfulness, and I thank you.
There you go. We'll go with that. Hey, we actually have some I guess good news, positive news would be the way to put it, that we'll be talking about in this segment. Just basically some of the pushback on the authoritarian state that's going on here. But let's start with concepts of a plan, which is what Donald Trump said he had last year while running for president. Again, that he was still, after all these years, he's only had concepts of a plan. Then came reports that he was getting set to unveil a healthcare plan. Finally. Now he's not. what exactly happened or didn't happen over these past, I don't know, 48 hours or so?
Yeah, well, I mean, on one end, he campaigned on concepts of a plan, so I guess promises made, promises kept. But the reality is that President Trump, he wanted to have a big win on healthcare. You know, he made his own Trump RX brand where people can get redirected to other medical sites, and he knows, because now he's being told and now he's seen it firsthand, that the cuts to our healthcare laws and the Affordable Care subsidies in his budget are going to be detrimental, not just to lower income people who rely on those, but all of us who now our insurance premiums are going to go up so that we can offset that cost to the insurance companies. And so the word was that he came up with a plan, which was essentially a more generous version of Democrats' plan, which was to extend these healthcare laws for 2 years. Democrats originally, their compromise was to extend these subsidies for 1 year and then figure it out after that. Trump wanted to do it for 2. I don't know if it was a change of heart because he met with the mayor-elect of New York and is warming up to more left-leaning principles, or if he just liked a good, solid win. But that's what he was about to unveil yesterday. And then apparently a lot of Republicans in Congress who just spent the past almost 2 months avoiding Washington, D.C. entirely to keep the government shut down so that they wouldn't have to bend on healthcare. They weren't too happy about that. And so they started calling the White House. They started telling him not to do it. And, in classic Trump fashion, today's Taco Tuesday, but yesterday was the day that Trump chickened out again.
Taco always trumps. Oh, Trump always chickens out. Yes, it is definitely a Taco Tuesday when it comes to healthcare. And look, we don't even know how serious he was about it because he has this habit of basically thinking out loud, but it never becomes an actual proposal because that gives him plausible deniability. So we don't even know where all this was going. If nothing else, it just simply makes House Republicans and Senate as well, who really wanted this all to go away. And it simply brings it back up to the forefront that 22 million Americans are having these enhanced benefits expire. And, there are Republicans who, when the president was actually ready to have a change of heart, said, no, we want these price hikes to go forward. Another thing that was put out there was, Trump talks about this a lot, putting money right into the hands of Americans, just making direct payments and then let Americans buy the health insurance they want. That sure sounds to me like just going back to pre-Affordable Care Act and, yeah, we can give you money, but is it going to keep up with, how high your premiums are going to go? That's a whole nother question.
Right. Well, I feel like it also ties into his recent push to try and give everyone $2,000 as a kind of a tariff bonus.
Yes.
Where, which I believe Senator Johnson in Wisconsin is kind of the one who put the kibosh on that and told him that wasn't going to happen. But I feel like Trump has this internal struggle where he wants to be popular. He wants to be liked. He knows, deep down that he's hated. And so he hears about these things that would be popular, like, oh, people like money, I'll give them money. Oh, people want healthcare, I'll give them healthcare. But because they're not fleshed out, because he's not really a detail-oriented individual, I guess you could say, that he just throws it out. He vomits this stuff out on social media, and then the more established Republicans who don't want people to have money and they don't want people to have healthcare, they rein that in because there's no way they're going to vote for those things.
We're talking to Cam Stevenson, national correspondent for Courier Newsroom from Capitol Hill in Washington. Now some of the pushback on, again, some of the extreme authoritarian law enforcement tactics that are out there. And I will say again what I've said before, this is not about being anti-law enforcement, but everybody should be against, law enforcement that crosses a line, or the military, where somebody gives an illegal order and just expects people to follow along. Well, now there's been some pushback from the good people in Charlotte, North Carolina, from the customers at Home Depot. Do you want to take either one of those and give a few more details?
Yeah, no, these are both very, very good examples of ways that grassroots opposition has found a way to effectively combat the authoritarianism that's attacking their neighborhoods and communities. Because you're exactly right. I mean, you can't call something law enforcement when when those doing the enforcing are not following the law.
Right.
When they're illegally abducting people, when they're shutting down people's businesses, when they are harassing and intimidating employees. That's not enforcing the law. That's just brutality. And so in Charlotte, it's more of an evolution of what those who want to stop ICE from abducting their neighbors have learned in different cities. We saw mass protests in LA. We've seen here in DC, there's a lot of watch groups where people will take shifts standing watch and let people know if ICE is going to be in the neighborhood. That's happening in Chicago. And in Charlotte, it became an incredibly effective way to protect community members. There are thousands of volunteers in Charlotte who are essentially taking shifts, doing a combination of things. They'll watch areas that ICE is known to hit to do their raids. Like Home Depots or like restaurants or busy sectors like where there's a lot of service industry workers. And they'll also have people standing by and watching ICE facilities. And what they do is they're tracking movement. They're saying, oh, there's a bunch of vans showing up at this ICE facility on a Tuesday morning. They are close to these areas where they usually go. And then they put out word to their network and alert people and let them know, hey, don't take 47th into work today, take 45th, or, don't go to the Target in, on this block because that one, it looks like there's going to be ICE activity. And in doing this, Charlotte residents have really effectively been able to get people to safety, to protect them so they're not in those places where ICE agents are. And like I said, it's something that's evolved, from LA to Chicago to here in DC, where activists are learning, they're sharing each other's notes, and they're letting each other know how they can protect people. Because, once ICE is there in a combative situation, they're not trained for de-escalation. And so they're going to shoot you, they're going to detain you, and they're going to cause the violence and crime that the administration claims that they're stopping.
Exactly. And again, instead of going after people who are a genuine threat to public safety, they're going after the people who are, reshingling our roofs and taking care of our children and things like that. We're talking to Cam Stevenson from Courier Newsroom from Washington, D.C. And in Home Depot, which again was allowing ICE, seemingly unfettered access, customers figured out how to do something as simple as the return policy on a 17-cent scraper to kind of gum up the works. Cam, you've seen that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is something that's being done in cities all throughout the country. If anyone in Wisconsin is interested in a little, borderline harmless opposition that is having an effect, this is a very easy tactic to implement anywhere that is actually making a difference. So what Pat was talking about is people who want Home Depot to stop collaborating with ICE. And essentially what's been happening is typically outside of Home Depots, there are day laborers, usually immigrants who sit outside there 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, get picked up by contractors, and then they go and do construction work. Home Depot employees have been alerting ICE agents when there's a large presence of day laborers. And then ICE comes and just arrests all of them, which is a pretty dirty way to do things. And people have taken notice and have called for an economic boycott.
And instead of, just the boycott, Cam, because we got less than a minute left here, they've just figured out a way to go in, purchase something, and you see this long line of people returning a 17-cent scraper. And that's, again, it kind of slows down traffic in the rest of Home Depot and hurts their sales. And so it's not staying away to boycott it. It's actually frustrating them with a boycott. And Home Depot appears to be backing off their cooperation as a result. Oh, we've got Cam on mute for some reason here. Let me see if he might be muted. And let's see if he can get that unmuted real quick. Isn't that fun when you use computers and iPads that way? Oh, shucks. I'm not sure how it happened, but that's where Cam was. And Cam's waving to the camera, so we're going to check in with Cam next week and get the conclusion of our story of people pushing back against an authoritarian state at Home Depot, doing something as basic as long lines at the return counter. Still ahead, Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner will be along. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News, and this is the Civic Media Radio Network. All right, we're in break, and let's see. Still can't figure out why Cam's on mute there. Because we're trying to unmute you, and it says we can't unmute the guest because they muted themselves. So I don't know how you got to be on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I hear you. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, I thought that
That's
Pat
okay.
muted you for a second because
No.
it seemed so perfect when you cut off.
No.
I know. I was like, all right, a minute. I get it. Jeez.
Yeah. No. Just there was nothing there. And I was like, okay, well, I'll start to fill in and hope you pop back in. But anyway, well, it wouldn't be a week if there wasn't a little gremlin someplace. So there we go.
And usually one that I bring on board. So.
No, it's all good. So, all right. Thanks again for the time, and have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks. Actually, next week I will be out, so I won't be able to.
Okay, good. I'm glad
but
you
the
told
week
me.
after.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah,
No
better
Cam
now
next
than
week.
6 a.m. next Tuesday.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks then.
All right.
Thanks, Cam.
See you guys.
See ya.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yeah.
Got to get that plug in for Cam one more time for his Below the Beltway newsletter. Head to beltway.news or couriernewsroom.com for updates and insight from Cam Stevenson over on Capitol Hill. And because we had a little technical snafu there with his audio, I thought I'd come back to, again, what was happening at Home Depot. And in this case, we were talking about Charlotte, North Carolina, and how people are, again, warning of when these, authoritarian and illegal, dragnets are out there and, essentially playing the role of patriots, versus the redcoats back in the Revolutionary era, when again you had an illegal occupation force there. But in the case of Home Depot, this actually got going, according to a CBS News report, in Los Angeles County at a Home Depot store where people would go in and purchase an ice scraper for 17 cents. And they'd buy it for 17 cents. Then they'd get right back into a line to return them. The act clogged up customer service lines, a political act urging Home Depot to keep federal agents out of their stores. For nearly an hour, the buy-in operation stalled the store from operating as usual. The protesters then marched through the aisles of Home Depot, which led management to close the store down. And, again, Home Depot is is getting the message. Home Depot Communications has said repeatedly that they do not cooperate with ICE agents and are not notified of operations before they happen. But clearly there are folks who do not believe that, or who have witnessed things otherwise and are doing their part to, again, try to keep, if nothing else, it's about keeping the Trump administration honest to their promises. The promise was to go after the terrorists, to go after the drug pushers. And by the way, those exist. That happens. There are people here, undocumented immigrants, who commit crimes, who do some bad things, just as there are many, 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 many more people who are citizens who commit all of these crimes. That's what law enforcement is supposed to be. In fact, there was a story recently, I don't have it in front of me here, but there was somebody from China who's just been deported back to China, and who was looking at essentially using a type of, was it a fungus to create agricultural bio warfare. And they were discovered and they've been deported. It's an example of the system working. But if you're taking those resources that should be used for genuine, real law enforcement, and if you're pulling back from that, as they are in white-collar crimes, in sex crimes against children, and in so many areas, if you're pulling those people back and applying those resources and those people to go after Maria from housekeeping, or Miguel who's putting shingles on your roof, or somebody who's taking care of your kids, or somebody who is milking the cows, and they're all doing an honest day's work, and they have never committed a crime, and they're the people we need to alleviate a labor shortage. Well, if we're cracking down on that, then that's how you keep the Trump administration honest, to say that, this is what you told us you were going to go after the bad people. And don't give me this BS about crossing the border is a crime. Crossing the border is a misdemeanor. That's where you're putting your resources. Well, that's not law enforcement. That's just racism. And we're not here to do anything about it. We've got people who are campaigning. Somebody recently announced a campaign. What was it? The Sham Wow guy. I don't know if you've ever seen the infomercials. And there was one for Sham Wow. And this guy's running for Congress in his hometown now. And he says the whole point of his running is to destroy wokeism. I have an idea. How about if instead of destroying wokeism, we destroy racism? How about if in destroying wokeism, we destroy bigotry? How about if we take a big old chunk out of misogyny while we're at it? There are all kinds of things that we could be doing to improve life in this country instead of racial profiling people who are trying to work hard and achieve the American dream. And if you didn't like the fact that they came over the border because our system is broken, fix the damn system. The system's broken by everyone's admission. And who stopped it from being fixed? One guy. He got elected president of the United States saying, I can do a better job than bipartisan immigration reform and border security. His idea to do a better job is to promise he's going after just the bad guys, and instead is pulling teachers' aides out of the classroom in front of screaming and crying children. That's nothing to be proud of. Not even remotely so. You want to fix the problem? It's already on paper. There was already a bipartisan plan to do it. Put it up for a vote. I dare you. Put it up for a vote right now and watch how many Republicans actually get it. That instead of letting, racism and bigotry run amok in this country, we actually want a path to citizenship. The baby boomers, forgive me for being direct, they're dropping. They're dropping like crazy because time is undefeated. And my generation, early Gen X, we're right on the doorstep of retirement, and there's no baby boom behind us. So if you want to maintain a good, healthy economy, as I've said over and over again, there has never been a more important time for bipartisan immigration reform and border security that helps bring people into this country who want to work hard, follow the rules, chase their dreams, and live in greater security than what they have right now. But we got to do one thing first, and we got to get rid of the haters. And right now, they're infesting the White House. They're infesting the Capitol. It was bad enough when they were just infesting talk radio in the comment sections. But now they're in high places, and it's high time for that to be undone. Coming up next, we'll put the focus back on Wisconsin politics with Eric Gunn of the Wisconsin Examiner. And then tomorrow, Representative Christian Phelps and State Senator Jeff Smith will be in our homeroom segment talking about the realities of finding a bipartisan way to fix school funding in Wisconsin. I'm Pat Kreitlow. You're up north.
The loophole created by the 2018 Farm Bill allowed cannabis products if they contained less than 0.3% THC by dry weight. The new signed law closes that loophole, and along with it cracks down on most THC products that have been proliferated in the past 7 years. Dispensaries, smoke shops, gas stations, and even those drinks next to alcohol at the grocery store. The crackdown would take effect next September. Ignite Dispensary is one of many businesses that would be affected by the new law. Spokesperson Tim Fry says given the federal shift, he's been meeting with state lawmakers to make changes in Wisconsin.
So we are lobbying super hard to actually get a hemp bill passed in Wisconsin. If that happens, if that doesn't happen and federal stays the same, every store is out of business, basically. 95% of the products will be taken off of the market.
Fry says that the medicinal properties of hemp help a lot of people, including veterans with PTSD and older adults with chronic pain. Meanwhile, some communities in Wisconsin have started to crack down on cannabis-containing substances, prohibiting the sale to people under 21 and implementing other measures. Most of Wisconsin's neighbors won't be affected by the change. Minnesota, Illinois, and Michigan have legalized recreational marijuana. A study from the Wisconsin Policy Forum found that 3 out of every 10 residents in Wisconsin, 21 or older, live within an hour's drive of a legal recreational marijuana dispensary.
That's Maddie Schaefer. I'm Savannah Tomei-Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
Your neighbors are talking. Leaders are deciding. Madison's story unfolds daily on 92.7 WMDX.
A little drizzle this morning, mostly cloudy all day with a few more scattered rain showers later this afternoon. Our high today, upper 40s to low 50s. Tonight, rain off and on through the night. Our low dropping into the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, cloudy with some rain likely at a high in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature 44.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just
Oh, hey, Eric. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I'm just going to get over to your page here. I think we're probably good to go. Anything else, other than a general overview of, what the legislature's been up to, but anything you want to put special emphasis on?
Kind of all the things that you cited yesterday, my personal favorite, frankly, is the big kerfuffle about the unemployment insurance bill. There's a lot there in terms of the efforts that Republicans have made over the years to change the UI laws while going around the advisory council. And then this time around, the advisory council came out with a bill that a lot of folks are not happy with on the labor side and on the Democrat side, which is unusual because it's a compromise bill supposedly between the labor and management.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, then we're good to go, and we are going to get going in just about a minute. I'll tuck you back in the waiting room and see you in a sec.
attorney in this case, Lindsay Halligan, is not only extremely qualified for this position.
30 seconds until we're back.
Nice to have you back here on this Tuesday morning, 8:35. So 1 hour ago, we spoke with Ashland area Democratic State Representative Angela Stroud about the fall session of the legislature, things that got done, things that didn't get done, some very strong feelings on the subject. And if you missed it, you can listen back by subscribing to our show as a podcast. Head over to Spotify or Apple and follow us that way. You can also head to civicmedia.us and click on shows. All the Civic Media shows are there, broken down hour by hour, and you can listen back to any particular hour. But we'd love to have you as a podcast follower as well. So let's continue talking about things that are getting done in Madison and things that are being considered and may or may not make it to the finish line before the 2025-26 session of the Wisconsin legislature ends. And to help us with that, we're going to talk to Eric Gunn, deputy editor of the Wisconsin Examiner over at wisconsinexaminer.com. Eric, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you very much for being here today. And as I'm looking at, I mean, obviously the Examiner covers, everything that happens in the state capitol. But one issue that I wanted to get to that we haven't really talked about on this program is about unemployment insurance. And you would think that there are pretty traditional partisan breakdowns in unemployment insurance, the hoops you have to jump through, the amount of the payments and things like that. But there actually appears to be something here where a joint labor management advisory council on unemployment insurance has put together something, and Democrats are strongly opposed to what this joint labor management group has done. Can you give us a little bit more background and detail about what's being considered?
Certainly can. Let's start with the fact that over the last several years, Republicans have repeatedly brought into the legislature various changes that basically sum up, make it a lot harder to collect unemployment, create a lot more administrative burden. And those have been repeatedly vetoed. They have not gone through what has been a feature of our UI system in Wisconsin for decades and decades, back to the 30s, namely the Joint Labor Management Unemployment Advisory Council. Now the Advisory Council has put together a proposed bill, and it involves a lot of things that the Republicans have been seeking, and people aren't exactly sure why this Joint Labor Management Council came up with that this way, except that they were going to get a $25 increase in the maximum benefit that can be collected by people on unemployment, all the way up to $395 a week, which they haven't gotten an increase in that maximum benefit for more than 10 years. But there are other changes in that lead some people to believe that, despite the fact that it came out of the advisory council, the governor is likely to veto it. Now, we don't have anything for sure from that, but that's what some people are speculating around here. All of this kind of revolved around a particular issue, which was the ability, or for a period of time, the inability of people who are on Social Security disability insurance income to collect unemployment compensation if they lose a job. Just because you're on SSDI doesn't mean you're not working at all. a lot of people on SSDI are maybe have some kind of part-time job, often because their SSDI payments each month aren't really enough. In 2013, under Governor Walker, the legislature just said flat out, if you're on SSDI, you can't collect unemployment insurance payments, period. That's some kind of double dipping. And for several years, that was the case. In 2021, a lawyer named Victor Forberger, who has been kind of one of the principal lawyers in Wisconsin to represent people with problems in the unemployment system, and a team of some other lawyers with some other big firms, sued and got that ban on SSDI thrown out. Well, and this gets really complicated. I'm trying not to get too far into the weeds here, but as part of this combined bill, this joint bill that came out, they were going to say, okay, we're letting people collect SSDI, but now they got to pay half of it back. We're letting people on SSDI collect unemployment, but now they have to, pay half of it back.
So we're really talking about people that continue to see any kind of disability as some kind of not just a safety net, but as a lifestyle.
Exactly.
And the caricature of people who are claiming a disability, they're getting a check from the government, but they're otherwise perfectly fine, as far as people can tell, and what do you really know about somebody. But this mindset that started under the Walker administration and continues to this day is, even if your disability payments, while they're there, they're not enough to live on, and you decide to work and you get wages, but now you get laid off from that work, it's a matter of whether you should be able to collect unemployment, and then whether there should be some kind of a penalty on this. And this is where you get, like you said, that Joint Labor Management Council, wants an update on the jobless pay, but by as you just said, by bringing the maximum benefit to $395 a week. I mean, compare that, as you say in your article, to Minnesota, $914 a week, Iowa, $602 a week, Michigan is going up to $530 a week. So, I mean, you've got, if you're living on the maximum payment in Wisconsin, you're not necessarily keeping up with inflation, much less other states.
Exactly. We don't know what happens in those individual caucus meetings, the labor folks caucus, the management folks caucus, but it's very clear from what came out of that bill that on the management side, which is, among other things, headed by the chief lobbyist for Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, they must have pushed very, very hard for some of, not only that, but for some of these other provisions that have previously been separately vetoed, things relating to how often there are audits of work searches and ghosting, getting penalized for ghosting if you don't show up for a job interview when you're collecting unemployment, and all of those things. They pushed very hard to get in that, and it sounds like they drove a very hard bargain with the labor folks for them to get any kind of increase at all, and that they ended up everybody ended up going with this bill that is otherwise very unpopular in terms of its what it does and doesn't do for workers.
Yeah, we're talking to Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner about this bill that would reform how unemployment insurance works in Wisconsin, but appears to have these poison pills that are attached. And as was noted in committee testimony in the legislature, a lot of these provisions about work searches and, ghosting of job interviews, these are things that are either not necessary or ineffectual. I also think of the people who maybe they have scheduled a job interview, but now they've got a sick kid or they've got some other circumstance where they can't go to that job interview. And we're supposed to now just assume that they're a freeloader going through the motions just to live off, an already small unemployment check. again, it sounds more like we're dealing with rhetoric than reality in terms of what struggling families are going through in Wisconsin and how the legislature can best reform it.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. It has to go. It sort of has to go through the actual votes in both houses at this point, and depending on who you talk to, there's kind of any number of scenarios that play out. Maybe it'll just die. Maybe it will actually get through both houses. If it does get through both houses, there are a lot of people who really wonder if the governor will sign it, given the unpopularity of some of the provisions.
Right.
There are other stories that are happening, though, that I think we also ought to touch on.
Yeah, tell me some more of what you've been following and what the team at the Wisconsin Examiner has been following.
Well, I want to call attention to a story that Henry Redmond published about a week ago. We've have this problem. The sandhill crane has come back. This has been it's a wonderful ecological success story, but we've got kind of a problem with cranes basically ravaging farm fields during the spring planting season, and then there are various ways to being talked about to address it. Well, one way that people have proposed is that there's some kind of a chemical that can be coated on seeds that basically discourages the cranes from eating the seeds, right? That's expensive to have this applied and so on. So there was talk about trying to, provide state assistance to farmers to doing that. Then there's a whole other group that is using this as an opportunity to say, let's hunt cranes. They even have this idea of ribeyes in the sky. I believe Ted Nugent was talking about that.
Oh, gosh.
And there was a joint committee, and Henry Redmond has written all about this. There was a joint committee that was working on this issue. When they finally came out with the bill, however, all that's in it is the sandhill crane hunt. And the people who actually know about these issues from the Crane Foundation and from farmer groups and so on say, wait, the hunt is not going to do anything. It's in the wrong season.
Right.
Because it's in the fall. That's not when the problem happens. So it's kind of pointless. So Henry had a great story. Basically, the headline kind of says it all, but it's worth reading. Last week, debate on sandhill crane hunting bill ditches expert recommendations.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And again, WisconsinExaminer.com is where you can read more of Henry's story there. We're talking to Eric Gunn of the Wisconsin Examiner. And then the last one I wanted to mention, and we won't need a lot of time because it's pretty self-evident, but as these enhanced subsidies for the Affordable Care Act go away, uncompensated care is going to rise. I mean, that's that's just basic. And even though it's a basic point, it's a point that is not sitting well with not just hospitals all over, but especially rural healthcare. Rural healthcare providers are scared to death of what's going to happen with uncompensated care levels.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And the Wisconsin Hospital Association every year puts out a report, and I wrote about that a couple weeks ago, basically looking at the financial condition of the state's hospital systems. And the chief executive there, said they're very concerned about uncompensated care rising because insurance coverage is likely to fall as a result of the expense of insurance policies under the Affordable Care Act.
Right. I mean, it's something that we've seen before. We're talking to Eric Gunn from the Wisconsin Examiner. We'll have some final news and notes here from Lake Wissota. Then Matt and Air on Air follows us from 9 to 11 here all across the Civic Media Radio Network. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. Follow us at upnorthnewswi.com. You're Up North. I figure we're on a roll here. Eric, can you stick around for a few more minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, good. This is a 2-minute, 20-second break. I'm sorry, 3:20, and we will be back. There goes the first 20 seconds now. We'll be back in 3 minutes. I'll be back with you.
Thirty seconds until we're back.
Couple of more minutes here with Eric Gunn, Deputy Editor of Wisconsin Examiner. Head over to wisconsinexaminer.com to learn more. And before the break, we were talking about uncompensated care as these enhanced premium credits under the Affordable Care Act are allowed to expire. Yet the push goes on. We were speaking with Cam Stevenson from Washington, D.C. earlier this hour about how President Trump apparently, briefly at least, was toying with the idea of extending the premium credits for the Affordable Care Act. And as you note in one of your articles, Senator Tammy Baldwin, among others, is noting that health premiums are soaring. And so even though the shutdown fight is over, the fight goes on to try to extend these enhanced health insurance tax credits, Eric.
That's correct. We have to look back to 2021, when the American Rescue Plan was acted. One of the things that the Biden administration wanted to do was make sure more people had health insurance, and they passed these enhanced tax credits that made health insurance that people have to buy for themselves because they don't have an employer policy or they're not qualifying for Medicare or Medicaid or whatever, to make sure that that was really affordable for people. And what we saw over the last 3 years is that enrollment through the federal marketplace got to record highs in Wisconsin and across the country. It seems absolutely unlikely that that trend will continue based on the prices that have come for the coming year on health insurance policies and the absence of these much higher tax credits that have made it possible for so many people to use that system. And the result of that is we're going to have people, if they have insurance, they may be having higher deductibles. So they're going to be even reluctant to go to the doctor unless things get really bad. Of course, the longer you wait, typically, then the more it's going to end up costing in the end. Or they may decide to take a risk and go without insurance entirely and try to pay what they can out of pocket or not. That also is going to probably lead to more people getting emergency room care. Hospitals can't turn away a person just because they can't pay. That's a federal law. Right. And they're the only kind of segment of the healthcare institution which actually has that restriction. So that all leads to a likely increase in uncompensated care or people who can't pay their bills or medical debt, however you want to frame it. And as I was reflecting before our break here, the president of the Wisconsin Hospital Association even told me, when I interviewed him about their annual report, that he's been trying to, talk to the congressional delegation in Wisconsin to say, we need to do something about this. We need to figure out a way to extend those tax credits and keep insurance affordable. Still efforts are being made. I don't hear a lot of optimism that it's going to go anywhere. But honestly, even if it does, it should have happened to have had the maximum effect, a few months ago. Right. Because we're going to be going into the new year with these higher prices, even if you can bring them down a little bit. Yeah. It's not going to have the effect it would have.
Exactly. It's already people are already seeing that hike, and any relief will have to come after you've started to pay, the at least temporarily higher premiums. So that and more from Eric Gunn and the team over at WisconsinExaminer.com. Eric, thanks for sticking around a few extra minutes. Always great to catch up with you. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for being here.
And the same to you, and thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you very much. One other story I wanted to call your attention to from Baylor Spears over at the Examiner, special education reimbursement payments. Remember how in the state budget we heard that, there was going to be this increase to state aid that would cover something like 42% of special education costs? Well, the numbers are out, and it's only going to be 35% of their costs because of the way that the numbers worked out. So Baylor Spears has written that up over at WisconsinExaminer.com as well for you to follow. All right, Matt Nair on Air is coming up next. Yours truly will be one of her guests coming up about 9:30 or so, 9:35. But first, let's remind you that there's plenty of sports coming up for Thanksgiving. Of course, we've got the Green Bay Packers who are playing at Detroit against the Lions. Coverage begins at 10 a.m. on Civic Media stations in Richland Center, Park Falls, Racine, and Wautoma. And so that'll be the Packer game, followed by there's going to be a little Badger men's basketball on some of the other stations of the Civic Media Radio Network. Coverage there begins at, let me put up the right graphic for our social media viewers. That coverage begins at 2:30 on stations in Wisconsin Rapids, Amory, Richland Center, and Ironwood, Michigan. And then on Saturday, there is Badger football at Minnesota. Coverage will begin at 12:30 on Saturday. The kickoff is going to be 2:30 on stations in Richland Center, Amory, Wisconsin Rapids, and Ripon. So there's your little catch-up on sports. And if you missed it earlier, the Milwaukee Bucks are now riding a 5-game losing streak. Giannis missed a third straight game with a strain in his left groin. And as a result, the Bucks losing 5 in a row after falling at home to the Portland Trailblazers last night, 115-103. I would like to think, Parker, though, that this is all about the NBA Cup, that Giannis is just missing the games that don't matter. And the game that really does matter is for the NBA Cup. We're trying, folks.
There's more charm to that.
Yeah. No, we're not. But anyway, that game will be tomorrow in Miami, and we'll see if the Bucks can break out of their skid there. It would be nice. I'm not optimistic. Thank you, Parker. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see all the rest of you tomorrow as well. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News, part of Courier Newsroom, a pro-democracy news network building a more informed, engaged, and representative America. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you once more before the big holiday, 6 a.m., bright and early, here up north.